You're giving... This is working well, isn't it?
I said to you, Ollie,
So
I said this is going to be a disaster.
From their remaining...
talkSPORT Sports Update, powered by the Nissan Van range. Commercial vehicles that go the distance for your business. Search Nissan Vans or head to your local Nissan Van centre.
Good afternoon with your headlines just after 1 o'clock. I'm Uma Gurav. Lawrence Okoli is pointing to treatment for an elbow injury as a possible explanation for failing a drugs test. Okoli's planned heavyweight fight with Tony Yoka in Paris this Saturday is now in chaos. White and Jordan spoke to Okoli's devastated promoter Frank Warren.
Well, we only made aware of this overnight, and obviously we didn't see it till this morning. But that's the situation, and we are looking at the moment to find a replacement opponent. That's where we're at.
The Times reports the banned substance is something called GHRP2 and it's M8's metabolite. It can increase muscle mass and improve recovery whilst being difficult to detect. Okoli says he's confident of clearing his name. Meanwhile, Baroness Brady has left her role as Vice Chair of West Ham to focus on her businesses and role in the House of Lords. Former Crystal Palace Chairman Simon Jordan's praised her for being there as long as she has been.
I'm surprised she stayed with Sullivan and Gold initially as long as she did. I don't think she always saw eye to eye with them. I think that she's been very resourceful for them. A number of times she does a lot of their dirty work and gets things done.
Baroness Brady says lifting the Conference League trophy in 2023 will stay with her forever. Elsewhere, after former Chelsea boss Ruud Gullit stated it was too early to judge good coach Liam Rosenior, Scott Mintos echoed that feeling, telling us the lack of experienced players in the dressing rooms made things impossible.
I feel for Liam. Yes, I understand that his CV didn't justify the job in the first place, but give him a chance and give him the tools. And I don't feel he's been given the tools.
Chelsea head to Brighton tonight live on talkSPORT, looking to end a 4-match losing streak. And in the last few moments, Arsenal have announced striker Stina Blackstenius has signed a contract extension with the club. She scored the winning goal in their historic Women's Champions League final triumph last summer. Head to talksport.com for plenty more.
talkSPORT News.
The sacked Foreign Office boss Sir Ollie Robbins has accused Downing Street of placing the department under constant pressure to clear Lord Mandelson, and a former X Factor finalist has been remanded in custody charged with attempting to murder a social media influencer. Emma has more at past.
talkSPORT weather with QuickFit. Keep spring journeys safe. Visit your local centre or quickfit.com to book your tyres, MOTs and servicing so you can drive away happy every time.
Patchy cloud and showers gradually fading away. Sunny spells will develop and it should feel warm this afternoon.
This is Paul Hawksbee and Andy Jacobs with you through until 4 here on talkSPORT Weather this afternoon. Please tell us, Andy, what's coming up?
Well, coming up over the next 3 hours, we're joined by former Chelsea, West Ham and England midfielder Joe Cole. Boxing legend Prince Nazim Hamid will also be popping into the studio. And Leicester title-winning winger Mark Albrighton ahead of what could be a devastating night for the club.
Yes, we'll also go in search of the stuff you fished out the bin, plus items that should have gone in the bin about 25 years ago.
Absolutely.
And dart star and old Broth fan, Alan Sutter, on the help he's had from his fellow darts pros ahead of his London Marathon.
Good. There's all this plus the Yorkshire farmer who turns his old potato barn into paddle courts.
Yeah.
And where do these stories about Pep being the next Italian manager come from?
That's right, yeah. Leonardo Bonucci saying, I've heard all these stories. I've read about Pep and I'd love to have him. And I'm thinking, probably news to Pep.
Yeah, it probably is. I think he might take the Spain job. Well, maybe not, maybe not.
We're in Italy to chat about that and also to talk about Cesc Fabregas, who goes into a Italian Super Cup semi-final tonight, so against Inter, and he's very highly regarded at Como and has turned other jobs down so far, but maybe the pull of Chelsea could be too great. We've got Chelsea for you this evening, Brighton-Chelsea on talkSPORT and Leicester Hull on talkSPORT too. 6 minutes past 1. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, Andy. And I've been listening to you sort of shouting at the clouds today because we had Scott Minto. Well, I'm just going to ask you a question. Scott Minto was on there saying he feels a bit sorry for Liam Rosenior. Simon Jordan was talking about it just now with Jim. And all I would say is that if somebody comes to you in the company and offers you a promotion, you say, no, you're done, aren't you? So somebody offers you a promotion. And what Scott was saying there was... he couldn't say no to the job. He was in an impossible situation. And so it was up for the people that gave him the job to back him, wasn't it? And have they backed him sufficiently?
Well, they have. I mean, they've given him full support. But the problem is that Brighton, for example, the statistics are frightening. You can't get away from it. It's a results business. And Brighton were 13 points behind us when we changed manager.
Yeah.
They now will go ahead of us tonight when they win. So that is not acceptable. Yeah. I mean, they've absolutely thrown... They haven't scored for 6 games. They've taken one win in 11 Premier League games or something like that. I don't know exact statistics, but they're terrible. But the fact New records of worseness that we've ever had since 1993 and things like that.
You should be sort of, the owners have got a lot.
Of course, they've got a lot to answer for. When he goes, they should go with him. Not Egg Barley won't go, but the 2 sporting directors and the other guy should definitely go.
Yeah, but it's not.
Chelsea will not improve until they improve.
They didn't give him the job. It was Egg Barley and.
Yeah, I presume the sporting directors suggested it. I mean, they must have done.
So because they wanted maybe a coach that is a bit more sort of malleable, if you like, which the other manager.
We've all said this. People go, what about Iriola? What about this one? What about? They never work at Chelsea. Simeone, he'd never work for them. How can you work for somebody that's, all the best managers have a kind of autonomy. They do. Maybe they've earned it or whatever, but they have.
Or they've got a relationship with sporting directors before. Which that's kind of a bit like, obviously, Pep's got the best of both worlds.
Yeah. He has. So, I just think, personally, if it was me, I think if they lose the next 2 games, which I'm pretty certain they're going to, he might as well go, because otherwise, if you keep him to the next pre-season, a lot of the players will be very unhappy. People will be think about joining Chelsea, whether they want to. And I think you run the risk of absolutely ruining the next season.
Yeah, but if at the heart of it, I didn't intend to go down this route.
No,
but we haven't.
Talk about it, really. I've got much better stuff.
If at the heart of it was an ownership who wanted a coach like that, you're just going to end up with another coach like that, aren't you?
Exactly.
You're not going to end up with Simeone.
I think we all know that this model can't work. The way it is, the way they are, it can't work.
Yeah. And at the heart of it is players, as we've heard from a number of them publicly, who thought the last coach was good and they can't quite work out why he got the sack. But
no, and then they got told off. So, that's the problem, isn't it? They what's his name, Fernandez and Cucurella and Gusto, they all basically said the truth. They all said what we all know, that this guy isn't as good as the last guy.
Yeah.
You can see by the players, you can see by their, and just the, look, I don't make this personal, so, I just don't think the guy's up to it. That's my view.
Anyway, we'll find out more tonight. They might go to the Amex and get a thumping victory. Adrian Durham's your host tonight. Sam Matterface and Stuart Pearce will be alongside him.
We never get, even when we're playing well, we lose to Brighton, for goodness sake. But I want to talk about last night. I think that was, for me, that was 2 points dropped by West Ham. I really thought that was a game they needed to win, and they were on top in the sort of latter part of the first half.
I didn't watch the game. I had an evening shooting.
Did you? You shoot?
No, I didn't.
No,
I did, I bid, but I went to this place called Clay's. I mean, I paid for my ticket, so I feel for I'm not. It wasn't a freebie or anything. And you just go along. You just like some virtual clay.
That's a good idea.
Thing, which I did with some friends.
Is it satisfying?
It was fun. I was better than I thought. I think it's not quite as taxing as maybe it would be if you were doing the real thing. So I didn't see the game. I escaped the game, and I was with my friend and his wife and my wife, and we're all kind of Tottenham essentially. Yeah. Even though my wife had pictures of Frank McClintock and Charlie George on the wall as a kid, which I've never let her forget. She said she was young; she didn't know what she was doing.
No, it was.
But anyway,
it wasn't a great
I didn't
game.
see the match. I watched the highlights.
If you take out the excitement of the situation, that kept me interested. That kept the whole thing interested. But actually, as a game of football, it wasn't particularly great.
Yeah.
But
good old Brennan Johnson, his threepenny bit header.
Oh yeah,
he could have done us a massive favour.
He was a bit unlucky with the shot, and then you did get your Mavropanos one shot on target.
I did. I don't know if we. I don't think did it come in.
Nothing else came in because although I went for a draw, it had to be a scored draw. So.
Okay, fair enough.
Anyway, I've got news. I've got news for you from the Royal Circle. Not the Royal Circular. Not Royal Circle.
Not from the North Circular.
No, not from the North Circular, and not up in the Royal Circle like I'm at the theatre. No.
Hello, it's Andy Jacobs. View from the Royal Circle. It's a triumph. 5 stars. I've never enjoyed a show so much.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I could see that. You'd carry that off.
We'll just do this for the cool subjects anyway. Yeah. Princess Royal this afternoon attended the Society of the 10th anniversary of the Dead Slow campaign.
Really?
At Sadler's Hall. And then afterwards she went to the It's the first 10 yards is in his head campaign.
What's the Dead Slow campaign?
Claudia, it's Teddy Sheringham and what's his name? Pizarro.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, marvellous.
Oh, it's I don't know what it is actually, but
it's probably a very worthwhile charity. Sure if you're from the Dead Slow today, we salute you.
Of course.
I fished it out the bin.
Yeah,
There's an auction item coming up shortly, a big Manchester United auction. And it's a pair of Cristiano Ronaldo's gold boots.
Lovely, yeah.
And which he binned. And one of the kit team at Manchester United fished them out the bin. Well, actually, he was a cleaner at the club for 46 years, apparently. They were a pair of Nike Vapor boots. He wore them in 2004, retrieved by cleaner Tony Hayward from the bin after a training session.
Don't tell Sir Jim he's going to want the money.
Yeah, he probably will. He might do. But sometimes... My dad was he was a sort of builder type, and he was a bit of a skip raider. You'd be out in the car with him now and again. And it's like you suddenly just stop the car and he'd go over a skip and he'd pull out a piece of wood and he'd say, no, there's nothing wrong with that. So it's a piece of wood. Yeah, I'll get. And then it'd go in the shed up the end of the garden and probably never get used again. But he did do a bit of that now and again. He'd see stuff. So anyway, I fished it out the bin. Let's have something. That's a real Charlie's choice, that is, of a Tuesday. It's a bit of a Charlie Baker. But anyway, talksport.com, text 81089, tweet TSH and J. Maybe it went on to be worth a lot. Maybe it just sort of sat there and you were always abused for what you fished out the bin pointlessly. 03717223344. And as I said in the intro, stuff that should have been fished out the bin at least 25 years ago, because your wife she's a hoarder. She's a bit of a Mr. Trebus.
She's very much.
You don't have to climb over piles of newspapers at home, do you?
No.
But yeah,
it's just food stuff, and sometimes the kids will come round and they'll take the mickey out of it because they'll find something that's maybe a couple of years out of date.
Yeah, in the cupboard. Yeah, but she's surpassed herself, and it's now. If you're watching on Connect TV or YouTube, you can see some Schwartz fish. It's like a fish flakes. Is it a fishable
fish seasoning?
Fish seasoning.
Basically the sell-by date is the 1st of January 2005.
Wow!
So I sent my kids a photo saying "Happy 21st birthday" and a new Beyond It sell-by date record for Schwartz's deliciously aged fish seasoning.
I don't think.
Can you beat that?
I don't want to put that on me fish.
I threw it out.
Yeah, I should hope so. 2005 was the sell-by. So if you want to beat that, if you want to have, I was going to say have a fish around your cupboard, but maybe I don't know. So it's all a bit bin diving today, isn't it?
It is.
Talksport.com/H&J. Text to 81089. Tweet to TSH&J. Thankfully, we have got some important football matters to talk about and beyond. Prince Nazim Hamid joining us to talk boxing later. Joe Cole joining us for a chat. Head of Chelsea tonight. Bit of West Ham, England and more. But we'll kick off hoovering up some of the big football stories of the day and a rugby story that feeds into a football story with our chief football correspondent, Alex Crook. He's up very shortly. We'll look ahead to a big night in the Championship. Mark Albrighton joining us for a chat later to talk Leicester. And we're here, of course, with Toolstation. Check out their wide range of garden power tools with brands such as Bosch and Ryobi. Next stop, Toolstation.
Tottenham, under the Zerbi, a new lease of life. Can they go on and win all 5 remaining games? Yeah, says De Zerbi.
I think we can win 5 games in a row. Not to be arrogant, because I'm not arrogant now, especially now, but we have the qualities enough to fight and to win games in a row. They have to listen to me. I'm proud for their performance. They have to be stronger and to be focused just on Wolverhampton game, and to come in training ground on Monday afternoon with a smile, because otherwise they go home immediately. We are lucky because we are working in a big club, a big stadium. We are working in Premier League. We have the qualities, the right qualities to win the game. So we have to be positive, because I don't like the people who cried, who thinks in negative way.
Oof. You don't really want to get in the wrong side of him, do you? Spurs have got Wolves away, Villa away, Leeds at home, Chelsea away, Everton at home. He says they can win all 5, Simon.
Can. I doubt whether they will. I mean, we can all do things, can't we? But whether we ultimately achieve them is a different matter. He is setting up his stall to try and achieve what he's been brought in to achieve.
Time to talk football. One of the big stories of the day is that Baroness Brady is stepping down as vice chair at West Ham after 16 years. She recently popped in to chat to Sean Custis and Henry Winter. That was back in August last year. Talked about her role at the club.
I don't think people really understand. I mean, a lot of people, they look at club directors and they think we're quite remote, or they think we don't care in the way that supporters care. Trust me, we care. We're always thinking about what can we do every day to make the club better. All we want to do is fulfil all our hopes and dreams and expectations our supporters have. We're all supporters of the club. We're thinking all the time, what do we need to do? How do we need to do it? How can we improve? And when you don't get the results that you want, you're thinking about it even harder.
It was interesting.
Well, Martin
Sammy from the Times put out a note saying, you know, she was a trailblazer. That's something we'll come on to with Alex Crook shortly. And broadly in defence of the job she'd done. And the replies from the West Ham fans were in the full East End vernacular.
Yeah, I'd say they would be.
Alex Crook joins us now, Chief Football Correspondent. Hi, Alex.
Well, afternoon, guys.
Yeah, you kind of feel that those in and around the club, or people that know of the job, that their perception of the job she did, have a very different view to, I'd say, probably a majority of the fans.
Yeah, I think there's a statement, isn't there, from the joint chair, Daniel Kretinsky, the Czech minority owner, almost having a dig at supporters by suggesting that Karen Brady not fully appreciated for the job she's done. I'm not sure that's going to go down particularly well at the time, and West Ham are once again in the midst of a relegation battle. And if you look at this departure from Karen Brady, I first got wind of it in February. The club played it down at the time, but obviously those rumours turned out to be true. It comes at a time when fans have been protesting throughout the season, not just against Karen Brady, but David Sullivan as well. And I think if you look at her legacy, this was something I mentioned on breakfast this morning. Yes, she'll point to that European trophy. Kretinsky in his statement has pointed to the record fee they receive for their captain, Declan Rice. I'm not sure that West Ham fans particularly want to crow about selling their captain. Yeah. But also, undoubtedly, the legacy is the move from Upton Park to London Stadium, which was good for coffers, good for the shareholders, good for Karen Brady herself financially. Not sure it's been great for West Ham. I think it's a soulless place to go and watch football, and I think a lot of West Ham fans agree.
Yeah, I mean, look, they didn't want to go. It was their spiritual home. They loved going there.
That was a great place. It
was an amazing place, a really difficult place to play. But the feeling was, if we move there, we'll be world-class team in a world-class stadium. And, well, that's just not come to fruition, has it?
No, it hasn't. I mean, again, if you're pro Karen Brady, you'll point to that European trophy, which was one of the great nights in West Ham's modern history. But I mean, I watched Palace West Ham last night. Absolutely bored the pants off me, to be honest. So it certainly isn't a world class team, and it's not a world class stadium either. I think it's a horrible place to go and watch with that running track around the pitch. It makes it a really sanitised atmosphere compared to the old Upton Park, and I think it's a difficult place for fans to get to as well. So yeah, a lot of questions when it comes to her legacy, but you can't argue, I think, with what Martin Samuel has said, and I used similar words this morning. She has been a pioneer to hold that position as a woman in football for as long as she did. I think you have to take your hat off to her.
No, absolutely. I
agree.
So, Marco Rosa, it's a funny old situation. Normally in these situations, you start talking about lame duck managers and where does this leave the Bournemouth players, etc. But that's not the case. We saw the hunger in Bournemouth at Newcastle the other day. Iraola won't let that happen. This has been a pretty painless transition, isn't it? I mean, we don't know the sort of job Rosa's going to do, but they've got their man, they've announced their man, and it's not upset anything that's going on at the club at the moment. As anyway, we're seeing no problems.
Yeah, my view is when you have good owners, you can attract good managers. This guy's got a very good track record.
Yeah, well, we're going to come on to that with rugby in a moment. But just first off, Rosa, what do you make of the way this has been handled, Alex?
I think it's been handled impeccably, as you would expect from a club who are run as well as Bournemouth are. And even the statement, 4 paragraphs yesterday confirming Marco Rosa's appointment. I'd imagine there'll be a more all-singing, all-dancing statement at the end of the season once Andoni Iraola has left the club. But I think they wanted to be seen to be respectful to the current incumbent. Actually, Marcus Tavernier, I think it was after the game at Newcastle the weekend they won, it was put to him by a journalist, is there a natural inclination now that you're going to slacken off a bit because the manager is leaving? And he said, no, it's the opposite. We want to make sure we finish the season on a high, get European football if we can, to sort of pay respect and tribute to the job that Andoni has done. I think that's a brilliant attitude. They've been really good, Bournemouth, much in the Brighton mould, at a succession plan when it comes to players, because they lost a lot of their big hitters last season: Dean Howson, Eliza Barney, Milos Kerkez, then Antoine Semenyo in January. But the next cab off the rank has always been there. Trufair, the left-back who came in to replace Kerkez for a relatively modest fee and almost out the blue towards the end of the summer transfer window, has been a revelation. They signed Rayan, the Brazilian teenager. There's a big release clause in his contract, and he's filled the void left by Semenyo. So it isn't a surprise to those of us close to the club that they had their succession plan in place. I came on with you guys and sort of dangled the carrot, didn't I, this time a week ago, and said I've been told the name of the manager coming in and it will be an exciting one. That was Marco Rosa, and you look at his track record. He's managed in the Champions League, in the Europa League, and he's got a history of working with young players, the likes of Erling Haaland and Jude Bellingham at their young age, to name just two, and that really fits the Bournemouth model.
On to that, Aaron Andrew McKenna, one of our rugby experts here at talkSPORT, thought it would be worth running past you the Exeter Chiefs story. Like I said, I'm sure Chiefs fans would love to hear more about the Black Knight portfolio. Bill Foley and Michael B. Jordan, the actor, and others who are involved in this. They've got a number of franchises. So what can Exeter Chiefs fans expect? I mean, on the face of it, it's all good news.
I think so. First and foremost, the interest from the Black Knights has been confirmed to me this morning. I'm not sure how far down the line it is at this moment in time. But you would imagine talks are at an advanced stage, and this is Bill Foley adding to his already impressive sporting portfolio. Obviously, in terms of sporting clubs, he's made his name in ice hockey. He won the prestigious Stanley Cup with the Vegas Knights. Bournemouth was the first football club that he invested in. They've added to that since then. They've got a team in New Zealand, Auckland FC, Morensia in Portugal. They did briefly own Hibernian, 25% there, but those shares have since been sold. Lorient over in France as well. So this is a man who is serious about his sporting investments, and he is serious about making them a success. He told me on the record a while ago now in the last interview I did with him, when it comes to Bournemouth, we are going to get in Europe, if not this season, then at some point soon. As I say, he's already won the Stanley Cup, which is as big a trophy as you can win in ice hockey. So I think Exeter fans should be really excited. And he's not someone who just comes in and builds on the pitch. He builds off it as well. He delivered on his promise to build a state-of-the-art training ground for Bournemouth, which obviously they hope in time will attract big-name players and help keep their players as well. They don't want to be this selling club they had to be last summer. The stadium is still still the smallest in the Premier League, but he has made a pledge to build a new stadium. I expect him to deliver on that as well, and I'm sure that he will make similar pledges if he does become owner of Exeter.
We more or less. I'm just sorry.
I was just going to say, these well-run, data-led teams. You just look at Hearts. If you have this, you can be successful when you previously haven't been.
You have to be important. You have to be a certain profile of club. I don't know if can scale up to maybe the extent of some other clubs. I don't know. Anyway, that we'll find out in the fullness of time. Yeah. Just very quickly, because we're nearly out of time. If sort of briefly, if you can, but it's a big topic. I know we'll have to come back to it. Newcastle in the news today. First, Alan Shearer saying he doesn't think Eddie Howe will be there next year, and also back page of the Times saying that Newcastle will take 75 million if they can get it for Anthony Gordon.
I'm sure they would, to be honest.
Yeah, but what they don't want is...
I'm not sure he's a £75 million player, but when the sort of £55 million figure was being banded around in the German media when we first heard of Bayern's interest, that was put on the low side to me. They do want more for Gordon, but I think this is a transfer that there could be a willingness to happen on all sides. And when it comes to Eddie Howe, I've been of the thinking for a few weeks now that probably this will be his last season in charge, not because I think he'll be fired. I think he's just as likely that he'll walk away from the football club, maybe having taken it as far as he can, because I don't think Anthony Gordon will be the only big name departure this summer. There's interest in Sandro Tonali. Tino Livramento, as I'm told, is stalling on signing a new contract. So Manchester City are paying close attention to him. And you wonder how they can rebuild, because if you start losing that calibre of player, you have to get your recruitment absolutely spot on. And what I would say about Bournemouth last summer, more of the signings they made have probably proved to be misses than hits, and that's a big problem.
Yeah. The thing with Newcastle is very, very quickly is that they can't do what they did with Isak. They have to, if they're going to sell Gordon, if they're going to sell Tonali, they've got to do it straight away in the start.
No, you can't have that. I mean, that really did derail Eddie Howe, didn't it? Really, at the start of the season. Thanks, Alex. All the best. Thank you.
Cheers, guys.
Alex Crook, our chief football correspondent there, hoovering up some of the big sporting topics of the day. It's a big night in the Championship. We're going to bring you Leicester Hull. Could be all up for Leicester this evening in that game.
Really, isn't it?
It has been pretty shocking. We had the Harry Winks incident at the weekend, turning on the fans. Then the club decided to announce a 10th anniversary celebration game featuring the boys of 2016. I don't know if Mark's going to be playing in that game, but we are going to catch up with Mark Albrighton later on. It's we got that one for you live tonight. Adrian Clark, who's alongside Ian Danter on commentary, is going to join us to look ahead, to a pretty seismic night in the Championship. That's coming up shortly.
sports. Love was in the air in the Garden of England, Kent, at the weekend. talkSPORT's very own Jamie O'Hara tied the knot with his fiancée, and as you'd expect, his co-host Jason Cundy was in attendance, sporting his Ange Postecoglou mask, as viewers of YouTube or smart TV will be able to see right now. Jason's in the building to record another edition of Inside Chelsea. I'm pleased to say he's in the studio.
Good morning, gentlemen. Good morning, everyone. How are we?
Morning, Chase. How long did it take you to decide you were going to wear the mask?
Oh, no time at all. That mask was always coming. The photos are great. I've just seen myself on the dance floor. They're big Ange on the dance floor.
By the way,
trying some shapes.
Oh, Jace, you took the words out my mouth, mate. I'm going to tell you right now, I can't see Big Ange moving like that. I mean, I love Big Ange.
Mind you,
he ain't moving like that, mate.
Coisty, I've got to tell you, mate, on Sunday morning I paid for it. Yeah, those moves come with a price.
Yeah. So this was an early fixture. It was a 2 o'clock kickoff.
It was. I've got to say, what a brilliant day. It was so well put together. The weather was fabulous. His wife looked stunning. Jay looked fab. It was just a brilliant day. Everything went the way he wanted it to go.
Yeah.
And then they went to the reception. The reception was fab. And then, as you can see there, I was enjoying myself, throwing a few shapes. The hips were... snake hips came out, which is rare these days for me.
Brilliant.
But just a fabulous day. Really brilliant day.
So I assume you avoid watching Chelsea against Man United.
As Premier League relegation goes down to the wire for the first time in a while, talkSPORT's Danny Murphy expected more from Nuno's West Ham at Palace.
They were on the back foot the whole second half. They looked leggy, which was unbelievable. I thought he made substitutions too late.
What does the Hammers' goalless draw do for the relegation battle? Maths isn't Ali or Jeff's strong suit, so here's Steve from Coral on the odds to go down.
4-5 Tottenham, 6-4 West Ham. We think it's a straight shootout. 8-1 Nottingham Forest. Leeds look safe at 33-1. So, yeah, I heard you saying earlier, was it a good result for Tottenham, a good result for West Ham? And I get it when you said it's kind of, a bit of both.
That draw relegates Wolves mathematically. Their interim chairman, Nathan Shee, says the fans deserve better. Now, former Chelsea boss Ruud Gullit says it's still too early to judge Liam Rosenior.
He's a good coach. The thing is only that, does he has any impact on new players now in the next season? Look, just give him... Yeah, he just came half season. Half season is always a risk for any coach.
Gullit says Rosenior can only be judged after a full season in charge. Chelsea look to arrest their 4-game goalless losing streak at Brighton tonight. Brighton versus Chelsea is live on talkSPORT from 7 p.m.
We turn our attention to the EFL. As we said, our focus will be on Leicester Hull commentary tonight. Before we chat to Adrian Clark, who's alongside Ian Danter for that one. Let's hear from Ton Ecker. He spoke to our very own Jim White earlier on today, head of the game against Bristol City, which could see them move into the automatic promotion place. A quite incredible job he's done since he came in after Will Still. Jim asked him about the squad he inherited when he took over and how he's managed to turn things around.
I think the story is always a little bit longer. Obviously, a football club comes from a very difficult season. Then there's a few changes in the summer, and rightly so. And football, everyone always hopes for things to work out very quickly. And I do understand that because time is always precious for every single one. But the reality sometimes is that it takes a little bit longer, and it just did. There's reasons for that, but I think that we are at a very good moment now and a very good stage where we have grown together more and more, and now we need to continue to perform.
Yeah, he did a great job against Arsenal tactically. It was
that's right. They got an FA Cup semi-final to look forward to. Good afternoon, Adrian.
Good afternoon, boys.
Yeah, I mean, what a job he's done, and he's got the it's momentum that's so key, isn't it, this time of year?
Definitely, yeah. He's been a bit modest there, I think, Tonderecker, because Southampton were on their knees. An awful season in the Premier League, and it was never going to turn around instantly, but it kind of did once he took charge. Once they dispensed with Will Steele, it was like a light switch had just been turned on. The team was re-energized. They were much more positive, played with more freedom. They brought in some really good players in January as well. So yeah, look, he's got something about him, Tonderecker, and now I kind of think they're favourites to be top two, because they've got Ipswich to come, which is obviously a 6-pointer. And they've got all that momentum that you just talked about. So yeah, it's been for the first part of this season, Southampton were in and around the drop zone. So this is a stunning sort of second half of the season revival.
Big night for Millwall. Then they go to Stoke, don't they? Because they're still right up there. They don't have a say in that, but they're going to need to get something from it with Southampton breathing down their neck.
Definitely. I saw them at the weekend. I worked on their game, and they were really good. They won easily. And they've got the best running. Okay, so they got Stoke tonight. It's always a tricky game. We know that, not gimme, but it's definitely winnable. Then the last two games of the season, Leicester, who might already be relegated, and Oxford, who might already be relegated. So I don't think they'd swap run-ins. So Millwall kind of got it. They haven't got it in their hands, but they, in a way, they've got a great chance. So I could absolutely see them winning 3 from 3. And it's over to the others, isn't it?
Yeah,
so let's see what a story that would be if Millwall got to the Premier League. I'd love it.
It's very exciting. It's such as it always is, top and bottom, always an interesting league. Leicester at the bottom, as you say, is the big story. And we're going to have a chat with Mark Albrighton later on. Gary Rowett came in and saw us when he wasn't in work. And he was sort of saying, I'm quite enjoying this little bit of downtime. Yeah. I'm wondering if he's thinking maybe he shouldn't have come back in again. It's been a pretty tough old time, and now they find themselves really, I mean, tonight it could be it, couldn't it? And the way Hull are going, there's a pretty good chance it will be.
Yeah, I'm going to be there alongside Dance and Jeff Peters, and yeah, it feels like it's going to be a really sort of dark day for Leicester. Look, they have to win. If they don't win, they're down. And let's be honest, they deserve to go down. It's been a pitiful effort, particularly in recent games. I worked on a few of their matches shortly after Rowett took over, and I thought, these are a decent team. They've got good players. But every time you think they're going to kick on, they throw in a terrible result. And look, the numbers are damning. 2 wins in 2026. That's 2 in 19. In terms of clean sheets at home, 3 in 21, which is really poor. So look, Hull are chasing the playoffs, so they'll be highly motivated tonight. It'll pretty, they've just got to lay it all on the line. But the problem is with Leicester, the players haven't looked like they're willing to lay it on the line all season. And there's been some really limp efforts in big games, and the fans are rightly feeling fairly outraged at some of the players. I don't think too many are having a pop at Rowett. It's the ownership and the players. Mismanagement at the top, and the attitude of the players has just not been anywhere near good enough for Leicester.
Even with the 6 points deduction that they had, they'd still be in the bottom 3. And I tell you what, I'd kill for 2 wins in 2026, to be honest. As a Tottenham fan.
Me too.
Heady stuff, that is. Oxford Wrexham, an interesting game tonight, top and bottom, isn't it?
Yeah, it was a similar story. So Leicester Hull, one trying to survive, the other going for playoffs. It's the same at Oxford. There is a scenario where Oxford could get relegated tonight if they get beaten and certain results don't go their way. But and then from Wrexham's point of view, they could leapfrog Hull if they win. And in the unlikely situation that Leicester get that win that's been really elusive for them. So, yeah, big game for them. I mean, you'd fancy Wrexham. They score loads of goals, and it would be very Wrexham to sort of make a late charge into and steal that last playoff spot and maybe ruffle feathers in the playoffs themselves. So yeah, look, there's big games everywhere you look in this midweek. Look, it's crunch time, isn't it, for all of them? There's not really any second chances after tonight and the weekend. You've got to nail it.
To go down, I was going to say, to go down Leicester 10-year and the 10-year anniversary that's so cool.
And as I say, to announce a 10-year anniversary game for the boys of that era is strange timing. In League One, Plymouth, Luton and Stevenage have all got big games. I'm sure we're going to be hearing at Tottenham, Stevenage away, ole. If things keep going the way they're going. But, so they got big games tonight.
Yeah. So Stevenage are in pole position. They've got Barnsley at home, so a winnable game. Barnsley's sort of not a lot to play for. Conor Harahan, the manager, has announced he's leaving at the end of the season, so they're in a bit of a state of flux. There's a great chance for Stevenage. Now, I played for Stevenage when they're in the National League, part-time, loved playing there, and they always had ambitions to sort of be this club, and I just think it's brilliant to see them at the top end of League One. It's not really where Stevenage should be. They don't have a big budget. They're not able to attract amazing technical players, so they have to play a certain brand of football, but they do it really well. Jack Wilshere's Luton obviously won some silverware. They're making a late push. They're at Rotherham tonight. Probably needs to be it's a must-win really for them if they want to get into the playoffs. And it's similar for Plymouth. They go to Bradford though, which is a really tough game. So yeah, big night in League One, and across all the divisions.
Max Rushton will be on with Charlie tomorrow, and I imagine he might be a bit bleary-eyed because if he's going to get up in the middle of the night and watch Cambridge, because could they confirm an automatic slot, or they could take a step towards it tonight?
Can't confirm it. I don't think they can confirm it, but they can take a big step. Look, if they beat Grimsby, they'll need like a point from the last couple of games to secure top three, and they kind of deserve it. And yeah, look, Max needs, after the sort of the nightmare of also following Spurs, Cambridge are giving him
his big
some
club
enjoyment.
Who wins things, as he calls.
Oh yeah, exactly. But Cambridge, one home loss all season. They're absolutely flying. But Grimsby are on the charge themselves, and they're looking to get in the playoffs. So yeah, big game at the Abbey.
Finally, Adrian Clarkey, where are you with Arsenal at the moment?
Yeah, are you still continuing to believe?
Yeah, I am. But do you know what? It's really weird because I feel strangely more optimistic about the end of the season having watched us lose at City than I did before that game, where I felt that the team were on their knees a little bit. Obviously, as an attacking entity, it just wasn't happening. But in that game, I genuinely felt it could have gone either way. There were some big moments that had Arsenal been a bit more ruthless, they could have won the game. I liked the way that they played. So no, I've not given up on it, and I wouldn't swap run-ins with Manchester City. So look, it's game on, isn't it? Obviously, they've got the momentum, they've got the form, but I don't think you should write off Arsenal just yet. It's I would like Timber and Saka back, I've got to say, but even so, there were, in the words of Jamie O'Hara, some encouraging signs on Sunday in defeat.
I think that's true.
Cheers, Adrian. All the best. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, see you later, guys.
Adrian Clark back tonight with Ian Danter for Leicester City versus Hull City in the Championship. And as we said, Mark Albrighton, title winner 10 years ago with Leicester City, will be joining us for a chat on what could be a pretty dark night for the club. Brighton-Chelsea here on talkSPORT. We'll build up to that with Joe Cole, who joins us a little bit later on in the show. But we're talking a bit of table tennis next, amongst other things. And thanks for all your emails and texts. You've been fishing all sorts out the bin. Well, not literally all sorts. What about this one? Here's your heartland. Here's your demographic. Where's that one gone? I went out with the lads. A few too many drinks, bought a curry. Hey, I ate half of it, chucked it in the bin and went to bed. Woke up in the morning, felt a bit peckish. Took it out of the bin, microwaved it and ate it. No. There we are. There's your heartland.
That's bad.
Talksport.com, text 81089, tweet TS8.
Doesn't want to have my fish seasoning on it, does he?
No, that would really set it off. We're here with Toolstation. Get your toolbox essentials this spring with big savings on screws and fixings. Next stop, Toolstation.
Are you nervous as a player when you're 2-0 up against Wolves? Are you nervous in that game? Are you nervous when you're playing against Brentford and you're playing against Forest?
Perhaps
Are
Arsenal
you nervous in
perhaps
those games?
Arsenal bit off more than they can chew, Simon. They were really big in 4 competitions. Is the workload played a part?
Well, they fixed that.
Maybe that game came just at the wrong time from an Arsenal.
But they fixed that, haven't they?
That game now.
Here's the fact: they've been in this situation twice before, and they've cracked, and it looks like they're cracking again. Why are they cracking again?
Let's discuss that at the end of the season.
Never mind City. Why are they cracking again?
Because, look, the squad players that come in, Arsenal played with 4 central defenders yesterday. No Calafiori to develop the play in midfield that they normally have. No Timber, that tenacity that they has to help when Haaland's doing his stuff. Yeah,
But you've got to find a way, haven't you?
Yeah, but
the squad should be strong
People
enough
come in to replace
cope with that.
Don't they? We're on our 3rd right back yesterday.
But that's not the point, is it?
No, it
You
is the
keep-
point.
You keep ignoring the point.
It's not your point.
You can elevate your voice if you want to because you don't like the conversation. No one would look at Arsenal winning,
No, what I'm saying, Simon,
losing
is-
away to Man City
what
as
I'm
a bad
saying,
result.
it's
the other results.
There's always
that
a
built up
first
to
choice
this.
player, isn't there? So when a second
But
choice
when you're
player
playing
comes
against
in,
the bottom sides in the division and you're
yes,
trying
that's
to
a
win
different
Premier
discussion.
League,
We're talking about yesterday.
That's why they've lost.
I'm talking about
That's a big part.
But that's why they've lost their position.
Simon's point's relevant.
That's why they've
but
lost their
not-
position.
That's why they've lost the position they were in.
Don't you think the workload, though, has affected the Arsenal players with the injuries and fatigue? No? You know, talk of players...
Well, you know more than
talk
we
of
do
players
about
playing
that.
with...
So
talk
Man
of,
City. Man City are in all the competitions. They're in the League Cup. They're in the FA Cup. They're in the...
Well, it's the centenary. There's a big centenary coming out in the world of table tennis. The ITTF World Team Table Tennis Championship Finals are returning to London, where they took place back in 1926. 2 of our top stars, our 2 number 1s in this country, will be competing, Tom Jarvis and Tintin Ho, and they join us now. Good afternoon, guys.
Hello, hello.
Yeah,
Good to see you.
It's enjoying a moment, isn't it, table tennis at the moment? You know, that people are...
Marty Supreme has helped. I suppose the first question, I'll start with you, Tintin. Did you enjoy the film? I suppose it's about your sport, but what have you seen it? I take it you have.
Yeah, I've seen it for sure. It was a great film. It was slightly edgy, and I think that's what table tennis needs. So yeah, it's great to put table tennis on the map. So yeah, it was really cool.
What about you, Tom?
Yeah, I went and saw it straight away. One of our good friends is in it, so we all went and fanboyed and fangirled over him as soon as it came out. But yeah, it was a really good movie.
That's right. We spoke to you remind us of his name, but we did speak one of your.
Josh.
That's right. Who he kind of worked with him on the film, didn't he? And kind of improved his game. But he was quite impressed with how good he was as a player.
Yeah, I don't know. I've not heard much about him. But yeah, it looked good in the movie anyway.
Yeah, it certainly did.
So tell us a bit about this tournament, because it's quite exciting, I think.
So it's the World Team Table Tennis Championships in London, and it's like you said, the centenary. So yeah, it's England playing. We'll be playing against the best countries in Wembley Arena. So yeah, I'm really excited, and hopefully we'll do well.
What's the expectations, Tom, from an England point of view? I mean, you guys are our number ones, and you've had some big victories and Commonwealth Games victories and World Championship victories. So, what's the expectation for us? We're in the mix, are we? We're the world's best.
I hope so. Yeah, I mean, we've got two guys in the team that won a medal at the same tournament 10 years ago in Malaysia. So we know how to do it. But yeah, table tennis is incredibly competitive now. New countries like China, Japan, and then there's France, Sweden, Germany, and Europe. I think table tennis has grown a lot in the last 10 years, and it's extremely difficult now. But I hope we can go out and prove that we can still compete with the best in the world.
We have a bit of info on you, and it's interesting that Tom, you've got a shake hand grip, and Tintin, you've got a pen hold grip. Primarily, how does that affect your games? What's the basic difference there?
Yeah, so I play with a pen hold grip, which is more of a sort of a traditional, more used in like Chinese style grips. And that's because my dad, he's a coach, and he taught me with that grip. So yeah, I think there are different pros and cons. For me, not many people use pen hold anymore, but you can kind of get more wrist movements, and usually like your short game and serve receive is normally, it's like an advantage. So yeah.
So, when you try a pen hold grip, Tom, what are you like?
Absolutely awful. Even worse than with a normal grip.
And so if you try what Tom does, shake hand grip, do you struggle, or can you still, you probably beat us, but you probably wouldn't go into the World Championship playing that?
No, you would. You'll be all right with shake.
If Tom says so, maybe I'll be all right.
It's easier to go from pen hold to shake hand.
You said your dad's a coach, Tintin, but he's not just a coach. He is a table tennis obsessive. Your brother's called Ping, and your dad wanted to call you Pong. Is that right?
That would have been harsh.
That wouldn't have been very nice.
My mum was a bit like, oh, that's a bit much now. Let's slow down. Let's just use the initials for TT instead.
Yeah. So that's why Tintin for table tennis. That's why he did it. Wowee.
It's very interesting. We, over the years, have had Matthew Said on the show a lot, and he even wrote a book about this, and talking about how the fact that he was in an area where a lot of people were playing table tennis, there was a good club and
a good coach locally.
Yeah. And is it the same for you guys?
How did you? Yeah,
well, obviously your father, of course.
Tintin through your dad, but what about you, Tom? What was your kind of route into the sport?
I just started one day at school. My primary school had 4 tables in the assembly hall, and I think it was raining one day, so we had to come in from footy, and I started playing table tennis, and my big brother got into it too. And then it all kicked off from there.
So do you have a football team then, Tom? Who do you support?
Chelsea. Kicked off the show.
Yeah, that's right. Andy is a fellow Chelsea fan. I'm a Tottenham fan, so I think you should get it all in perspective, guys. But there we are. What about you, Tintin? You into any other sports? Do you follow any other sports, or has Dad made sure you're absolutely obsessive about table tennis?
Yeah, exactly that. I don't know any other sports exist. Only table tennis for me.
So, just remind us when do the Worlds get underway in London?
I think the qualification starts on the 28th of May, 28th of April, which will be in the Copper Box.
Yeah.
And we both start playing on May the 2nd in Wembley.
Fantastic. Brilliant. Well, look, good to talk to you both. We wish you both well. We'll keep an eye on your progress. And thank you for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
You.
Cheers, guys.
There we are. England's number 1 men's and women's table tennis players, Tintin Ho and Tom Jarvis.
My algorithm, because I did play a lot of table tennis during COVID and everything, it throws up loads of amazing rallies. It can be a brilliant sport.
That was your lockdown sport, you and the missus, wasn't it?
Well, it was more rallying than actual playing.
But you were trying to kind of beat your record all the time.
Yes,
I thought it was great. We had a lot of the listeners following you and your missus playing table tennis.
It was fun.
Talking of which, we had a bit of Paul from Telford fished it out the bin. Me and my wife once pulled out a competition-sized table tennis table from a skip behind the school. It was too big for the house, so we had it in the back garden. And we often had competitions until it finally rotted and was of no use. Paul, thank you very much. talksport.com, text 81089, tweet TSH and J. Neil in Leith is still smarting from that earlier one. Said, what kind of fool even throws away half a curry?
I see. Okay.
My parents have a tin haggis that expired in 1988, the year I was born, and I'm constantly reminded that it's being left to me in the will.
Oh, really? Well, that's a kind of deliberate
Gloucester Paul
thing to go with his birth. But...
And I pulled a cast iron orange large saucepan out of a skip and gave it to my dad, who loves his cooking. Curries mainly. We called it the skip because it was so big, and we never told my mum about its origins. Well, she might know now, Paul, in Henley-on-Thames. So I fished it out of the bin. A pair of not David Beckham, Cristiano Ronaldo's boots were fished out of a bin by one of the cleaners at Manchester United, the sort of gold Nike boots that he'd chucked away. So a bit of bin or skip raiding tales if you've got some of those. And Andy has got 25-year-old fish seasoning in his cupboard that his wife refuses to throw away.
Oh, we threw it
which will
out.
probably kill them all. So we got some great stuff at the back of the cupboard. Talksport.com, text 81089, tweet TSH and J 03717 223344. Alan Sutter from the World of Darts joining us. We'll talk a bit of Arbroath. That's his team. He's running the marathon for a great cause.
I wonder if he knows
this
Bob
weekend.
from Arbroath.
Well, we'll find out.
Okay.
And Alan's going to join us for a chat. A lot of his darts playing chums, including Luke Littler and everybody else, have weighed in to help him out ahead of the marathon. And Prince Nazim Hamid, one of the greats of British boxing, will be popping into the studio too. That's all to come.
European places are officially right up for grabs for everybody.
Absolutely. And we've our form of late has gone backwards. There's no getting away from it. The Moises Caicedo's form last 3 or 4 months has dipped. Cole Palmer hasn't been the same player since that injury was out for a while. You know, and then compound that, the Club World Cup obviously will have an impact somewhere, but the players that we've normally relied on have not been to the level that we require, and that is a concern. You cannot get away from it.
Yeah. Spurs had 3 managers since Chelsea last kept a clean sheet in the Premier League.
Yeah, that's what I mean. You know, you can't. You do. It's a bad combo, Jeff.
Yeah,
don't score. Can't keep a clean sheet.
It's not ideal, mate, is it? Look, Liam Rossini, he's only been there since January.
Yeah.
He's going to be reading the headlines. He's going to know he's got to find some results from somewhere. You can't just keep changing your manager, can you?
Well, that trend has continued. Depends what club you're at, but. I don't think that have this conversation at the end of the season. We've got Leeds in the FA Cup, right? That's going to be tough. Leeds have it formed right at the right time now. They've got their act together.
He can't afford to lose that, can he?
Well, I mean, no is the simple answer. But getting into Europe, Chelsea have got to have Champions League football. I can't see it. I cannot see it. Leeds right now. If I was a Leeds fan, I'd be going to that game thinking, correct, we're playing Chelsea at the right time, and we're playing Leeds at the wrong time. Yeah. That's how it feels right now. Big stadium, Chelsea players are used to, you know.
Joe Cole joining us for a chat later on. We'll talk a bit of Chelsea, West Ham, England and more, because it's 51 days today to the start of the World Cup, which we will bring you, of course, here on talkSPORT. But it's time now for the sports news with Uma Gurav.
talkSPORT Sports Update, powered by the Nissan Van range, helping business owners to work better and live better. Search Nissan Vans or head to your local Nissan Van centre.
Good afternoon. Following Lawrence Okoli's failed drugs test, his promoter Frank Warren is scrambling to find another British opponent to face Tony Yoka in Paris on Saturday. And he's told us the situation's taken everyone by surprise.
He's disappointed, we're disappointed. You know, this is not what we want. That's why we get these guys tested, so that if there's anything untoward, it gets detected, and they've got to explain how the substance got into their system.
Okoli's promising to clear his name, blaming treatment on an elbow injury. Elsewhere today, former Crystal Palace chairman Simon Jordan is surprised that Baroness Brady stayed at West Ham for 16 years. After her departure from the club was announced today, he's called her a capable operator who gets things done.
Whether it's players being sold, circumstances being contended with, challenges being overcome, because she is very resilient, Karen. She hasn't orchestrated outcomes to be in the position that she's in.
Yeah.
In a sport that didn't necessarily welcome women in positions of management.
Meanwhile, Pep Guardiola's confirmed Rodri will miss Man City's trip to Burnley tomorrow night due to a groin injury. He also says he has no update on John Stones' future. The defender's contract runs out this summer. Arsenal women have announced Swedish striker Stina Blackstenius has signed a contract extension, while Aston Villa say they're going to close the North Stand at Villa Park for the whole of next season as they look to accelerate redevelopment plans. The stadium capacity is set to rise to 52,000 in time for Euro 2028. And we're told Leicester's current squad should be challenging for promotion, not going down to League One.
The players have been underperforming, that's clear to see. The manager's not been able to get the best out of the players, and they find themselves in a position all of a sudden where, they're in a relegation zone.
Their Premier League winning captain Wes Morgan reckons it looks like curtains. Leicester need to win at home to hold live on talkSPORT 2 tonight to have any hope of staying up, while Chelsea's trip to Brighton is live on talkSPORT. There's more at talksport.com.
talkSPORT News.
The former top official at the Foreign Office, Sir Ollie Robbins, says Number 10 had a dismissive approach to Lord Mandelson's vetting, and 2 men have been found guilty of murdering a woman in a drive-by shooting near a church in northwest London. Emma has more at past.
talkSPORT weather with QuickFit. With over 400 EV-ready centres across the UK, we're top of the league for electric car owners. Visit quickfit.com and book today.
Patchy cloud and showers gradually fading away. Sunny spells will develop and it should feel warm this afternoon.
Paddy's Pick on talkSPORT with Paddy Power. Can you guess who's made the headlines this week? 18 plus, be careful aware, don't talk.
It's time now for this week's Paddy's Pick in association with our official betting partner Paddy Power. In Paddy's Pick, I'm going to ask Andy to identify a mystery sporting personality who is Paddy's Pick of the week. And you're going to get 5 clues to work out who it is.
Right.
We'll start with £50 in the pot. And for every clue you use or the correct answer, we'll have to take £10 away, unfortunately. So it's all for Duchenne UK. They're all for charity, so let's hope we can get plenty of money for you. I've not turned the page. I don't know what we're facing yet.
Okay.
Here we go.
All right.
Oh, yeah, I think you might be all right.
Okay.
I think Charlie would get this one right.
It's not a Torquay player, is it?
Well, it's Torquay ball boy.
Oh, right. Oh.
This week's pick is a Premier League star who's just reached a major milestone.
Premier League star that's just reached them
last weekend.
Not James Milner, it can't be him.
That was last weekend.
Last weekend in play.
Did you reach the milestone last weekend? It's a club-specific milestone.
Oh,
get you some money for
games. Did he play? Somebody's record amount of appearances. Could it be?
Boom, boom.
I can't think so.
No. All right, we'll go on to the next one. I'll sling a few clues in. His senior career began at Exeter City, despite being that Torquay ball boy, where he graduated from the youth team and was named the EFL Young Player of the Year 2017. We're having a chat on the show with Stevie Perriman about him as a young prospect.
Exeter player that went on. Did Ollie Watkins didn't play for Exeter?
You going for Ollie Watkins?
Yeah.
Absolutely correct.
Oh, good.
Yes, well done.
Phew!
Yeah.
That was, I don't know where I pulled that one from.
Out your backside by the sound of it. At Brentford, he was the joint top scorer in the 1920 Championship and named Championship Player of the Year. He probably would have got it from then.
Yeah.
May 25, he became Aston Villa's all-time top Premier League scorer overtaking Gabby Agbonlaho's record of 74 goals. Sure, Gabby was delighted. An England international since 2021. He scored 6 goals in 20 appearances. And Charlie still claims him as a Torquay legend because he was a ball boy. But yes, well done. So 40 quid.
Good.
Well done, Andy. It's Paddy's pick of the week.
Mounting up, thank you.
For reaching an incredible 100 goals landmark total for Villa. So £40 raised for Dishen UK this week. Thanks to our friends at Paddy Power, official H&J betting partner, 18 plus only. BeGambleAware.org.
Paddy's pick on talkSPORT with Paddy Power. Can you guess who's made the headlines this week? 18 plus BeGambleAware.org.
This is a good one about stuff fished out the bin. This is off the back of these Cristiano Ronaldo boots that are going to be auctioned, that were literally fished out of a bin by one of the cleaners. One Sunday morning, says Lee, in June 1987, I went to the market which took place in front of the old Wembley Stadium.
I remember that, yeah.
I walked past some bins on the way back to the car, and next to them were a couple of clear sacks that were open. On closer inspection, they were full of tickets for what would have been the 1987 FA Cup final replay, all dated Thursday, the 21st of May. Of course, that was the Cov Spurs game that Keith Houchin won on the day. Yes, which would have been, well, he didn't win it. You know what I mean? He scored the great goal, the memorable goal. Yeah. It was a very unfortunate deflection off the skipper, really, which would have been sold.
Still hasn't got over.
No, absolutely gutted. Which would have been sold at the stadium on the Sunday morning after the final. Unfortunately, given the boom in ticket collecting, I only pulled out one. It would have been a bit mad to have 2 sacks of useless tickets at home.
Well, it depends how much they were worth.
He says he's still got the ticket. I don't know what they would have been worth, but I mean, they probably would have been worth, if you were a Cov fan,
yeah,
I'm sure even if you wanted to pay £1 for a ticket that was never used for a replay, and you'd stuck them on eBay, and how many used tickets you get in a sack? Let's say 500. So that's that's £1,000.
Well, that's true.
Sorry, Lee, I didn't really want to monetise that and make you feel bad about it. But anyway, keep those coming. talksport.com/H&J. Text to 81089. Tweet to TSH&J 03717 223344.
This is an odd story in the Times this morning. A man, 55, I don't know why we need
a man.
A man, 55.
Can we not be a bit more specific? A man, 55.
Well, he doesn't say his name. Pounding his schnitzel, if you'll pardon the expression.
Well, we've all done it. Whether you're 55 or not, really.
In his kitchen on Saturday, was hit in the face by a neighbour who complained about the noise. Police said 61-year-old neighbour in a block of flats in Bavaria felt disturbed by the meat hammering, a common practice to tenderise it.
Are you doing this? Are you deliberately coming up with euphemisms?
It's unclear what happened to the schnitzel. What strikes me, though, is if you go to somebody and say, look, I'm not happy with you, he's standing there with a blooming great mallet in his hand.
He is.
It's a bit bold to actually punch the fella, I would have thought. But that's my takeaway from that. Not the other stuff.
No, I'm going to be definitely going to be using pounding his schnitzel in other contexts. What a beauty.
And we both were fascinated by this story. The story involving...
Yeah, we might have to ask the listeners to turn detective. This was 4 lines in the Sun, wasn't it? It said today, an abstract painting by footy star George Best, which he gave to a Hampshire barmaid in 2002, is in an online auction for £35,000. So normally, I mean, I see a story like that, and so does Andy. So we immediately put in a Google or whatever, abstract painting George Best, Hampshire barmaid. I mean, I wasn't definitely not going to put in what did George Best give to a Hampshire barmaid in 2002. But anyway, it turned up nothing. It turned up absolutely
completely unaware that he had any sort of artistic ability or
yeah. I mean, it's abstract. So I mean, that's quite a broad church.
Well, it is. That's true.
But anyway, if you can shed any light on that, maybe you fished it out of a bin to bring us full circle. But I've absolutely got no idea, and nobody can find any evidence of it.
He's no Jamie Pollock.
No, that's what a fantastic painter he was, the former Borough player. And this is uplifting news. What a glorious nation file this under.
Oh, yeah.
A shopping centre is boasting Britain's only chips vending machine.
Oh, great.
It's the good people. The company are called Captain Chips.
Well, they would be.
I'd like to meet Captain Chips, wouldn't you?
Well, is he related to Mr. Chips?
I think
Mr. Chips, everybody.
Yeah, that's right. Mr. Chips went into the world of TV quizzes.
Yeah.
And his brother went into the Navy, obviously, Captain Chips. It offers $2.99 self-serve snacks with or without salt and ketchup from its touchscreen unit. But that's great, just to wander along the street under 3 minutes.
I know.
It cooks up your chips.
Oh, I don't know. It's not great for your health. I mean, I like chips, but
What a
too many
what a
of them.
beautiful story. It's in Wrexham. If the good people of Wrexham, if you've tried Captain Chips, we'd love to hear what the experience was like. It sounds fantastic.
Especially if you have them with Captain Birdseye's fish fingers.
Yeah, that's
a lot of Captain.
They don't get on. Captain Birdseye and Captain Chips, they're not mates. There's been a bit of bad blood. It's quite Gabrielle Erling Haaland.
Oh, it's like that, is it?
Yeah, they don't get on. Talksport.com, text 1889, tweet TSH and J if you can shed any light on those stories for us this afternoon.
I don't know if you saw that yesterday and today they're testing the new presenters for Strictly. It was a big job. It's one.
Why aren't you there then?
Well, because I'm terrible on TV.
Oh yeah, apart from that,
and I'm about 150. I think they're looking for something a bit younger.
Well, Bruce was in his 90s. He was presenting it. Wasn't
Bruce was massively talented.
Yeah, that is true.
He could tap dance, etc. Sylvia Monk, though, she's chipped in to the Sun. She says, "Why can't Strictly's new host be someone who's not on TV? Perhaps a couple of unknowns with a love for dance would be better." Oh yeah, I'm sure that would be real.
Because live telly is really that easy to do.
Let the general public send their CVs in, says Sylvia.
When you see people do live telly badly, you realise what an art it is, really.
Of course.
I've got you a new job anyway, Andy.
Oh, yeah, have you? What is it?
This is not bad. Chelsea are hiring a member of staff to sort out players' driving fines and parking tickets.
Oh, really? I am the man for that. I could represent them all in court and get them a nice ban.
Yeah, full-time player services officer, salary of up to $60,000 a year. Part of the role will be to look after the squad's vehicle administration, including MOTs and servicing. I mean, how many of the Chelsea players have got cars that are 3 years old?
None.
Can you believe it?
Yes,
I mean, I've got to get me MOT on me K-Reg Corolla. And so, well, having said that, I was always taken, when I worked at Chelsea, we had a deal with Vauxhall. And they supplied cars to a lot of the staff. And I'd use one as well now and again. It was rather nice. But most of the players had their own, like Robbie Di Matteo had this sort of lovely red Alfa, lovely. Most of the boys had their own cars. You know, they wanted something sort of sporty or four-wheel drives. Apart from Franco Zola, who drove, I think, a Vauxhall Senator.
Really?
Which was one of these big old... I mean, he was just one of the most unaffected men, and probably still is, you will ever meet. And so when the club said, would you like a Vauxhall Senator, this big old... It's like a rep's car, basically. Like,
did he hang his jacket?
It's like a sales manager's car. I always used to think I was going to see him in a lay-by eating an apple and having a Garrett sandwich. Thinking with all his sample books in the back. I've got 4 calls this afternoon, then I've got to drive up Halifax. I'm staying in a travel lodge tonight. No, you haven't. You've got to play for Chelsea tomorrow. But I thought that was a mark of the man, really.
Oh, very much so. N'Golo Kante, he drove a Mini.
Yeah,
that's
again
a modest
taking us back. Jurgen Klinsmann and his VW Beetle.
Yeah.
Anyway,
it's nice.
So there we are. I don't know where that takes us, but you don't fancy the job? You have to be fluent in French, and you're not even fluent in English.
That's very true.
That's right.
Why you've got to be fluent in French?
Because they've got 5 French-speaking players who are bad drivers. The job ad reads, this is the job ad, by ensuring day-to-day needs are managed efficiently, you will help create an environment where players and staff can focus on delivering their best performance on and off the pitch.
I've just had a brilliant idea.
Oh, yeah.
Liam Rosenior speaks French.
He does.
Give him the job.
What, give him that job?
Move him on to that job.
To look after the players' MOT.
I think that would be good.
Yeah, okay. Well, look, we'll float that to the powers. I think he's probably going to want to stick with the one he's got, although I know you're not keen.
No.
So, we're going to have a chat with Southend United's very own Gus Scott Morris in a few moments' time. He's made the news this week. And we'll find out why. He also went viral about 3 years ago with a quite bizarre clip that was on TikTok that we unearthed and we'll show to you if you're on the connected TV or YouTube today. Alan Suits is going to join us for a chat, and Prince Nazim Hamed, who is recording the talkSPORT boxing podcast and YouTube show, which you'll get tonight with Simon and Paul Smith and Spencer Oliver, is going to pop in and see us when he's done. And we're going to have a chat with him. There's a couple of big boxing stories in the news today and other matters besides. So that's all coming up. To get in touch this afternoon, talksport.com, text to 81089, tweet to TSH and J, 0371722 3344. That's all to come. And we're...
Everton. They've won just one of their last 15 Premier League home games against Liverpool. At the weekend there, they couldn't do it. They looked like it would be a point apiece at the end of it. Then Virgil van Dijk stepped up, and that was that. Liverpool won in the first Merseyside derby to be played at the Hill Dickinson Stadium. What are we talking about here, Martin? New home, new owners, but same old Merseyside gap.
Not really. I thought that if they'd have won that game, Jim, they'd have been right on the tails of Liverpool this weekend. So that, David Moyes has done special things there, I felt. And without not the biggest of budgets, the constraints of the stadium and financial fair play and all the rest of it, and the problems that they've come through, I think they're pretty pleased that they got Moyes back in the position. But to lose like that in the dying seconds of the game would have hurt them. But they're not far away, Jim, from making that next step. Just looking at the league table, trying to get it up on my pad here. But look, they're 37 points.
Yeah.
Going into the game, I know they're on 55 now, but they could have closed that gap considerably, and Moyes would have been thinking, we want Europe. It could be Champions League, it could be Europa League. It's looking more like Europa League, but I think that's pretty decent when you consider what the club has been through. That changing from one ground to another, there's some difficulties. I think it wasn't until Burnley that they started to win at home, but away from home, he's been quite magnificent. His record's really good.
I mean, they're in the pack, Simon, chasing Chelsea.
Yeah, I mean, David's done what David does. He is a good manager. I think only a few times in his career, I don't think he was ever given a shake at Man United. I think everyone thought that was a poison chalice straight after Ferguson. I think the only two instances where David's really fallen foul of things was probably Sociedad and Sunderland.
Prince Nazim Hamid joining us in the studio in around 10 minutes' time, and Joe Cole will be with us in the final hour, formerly Chelsea, West Ham and England, of course, to talk a bit of World Cup and some of his former club's fortunes. Before that, though, our next guest, I take it, is already in situ for tonight's game against Hartlepool United. He's the Southend goal-scoring defender, Gus Scott Morris. He joins us now. Good afternoon, Gus.
How are we doing, Paul? You okay?
Yeah, good. Thank you. Now, our old mate Lee Bircham, an old mate of yours, got in touch and alerted us to this story. But you I understand you saw it coming. You admitted you'd had a few car problems. You'd been borrowing your sister's old car, and you did predict that it was definitely going to break down on the way to a game. And sure enough, on the way to the game against Halifax, it broke down, didn't it?
Yeah, I didn't have a great time with the old cars. My car broke down, so I took the family car, obviously my sister's car. She lives in Australia at the moment, so I took that, and I wasn't well, I didn't have much faith in it, and as it did, it broke down on the way to the coach, and yeah, I was stuck on a dual carriageway.
Oh no, it's a bit frightening.
So obviously, the boys are looking at sort of cement the playoff place and get as far up the playoff rankings as they can, and they obviously need you to get there. But the non-league family stepped in. Tell us what happened next.
Yeah, do you know what? I was panicking because I knew I was obviously going to miss the coach, and I put it in the group chat with my friends in it, and thankfully enough, my best pal plays for Bedford, and I know the gaffer there, and he kind of said, well, why don't you come with us up to South Shields, and we'll drop you off near Sheffield, and you can kind of make your way across to Halifax. And that's what I did, and thankfully Lee Bircham helped me out, and we managed to get to the game okay.
Brilliant. What a nice thing to do, yeah. And did you score in the game, is that right?
Yeah, no, do you know what? It was typical. It was always going to happen. It was one of them, and we ended up playing really well and winning 6-2 and managed to get on the score sheet. So it was all in a day's work, as they say.
Fantastic. Not the first time you've achieved a bit of notoriety, this. There's an old TikTok clip of you scoring a pretty key penalty, I think, in the playoffs. And then as you do a knee slide, one of the Southend fans runs onto the field of play and manages to slide into you and knee you in the head.
Nasty.
Yeah, to this day, I still don't know how he managed to get on that pitch so fast. It was all a blur, and I kind of remember just scoring the penalty and looking up and just seeing a kneecap coming at my head, and before you knew it, there was a fan kind of kneeing me in the side of the head.
I love the way he sort of like cuddles you after he's kneed you in the head. Tremendous.
Yeah, it was very much kind of. I was very lucky. My skipper at the time kind of dragged me out from the pile because obviously my head was hurting, and he was obviously bundling me, and I kind of ended up realising it weren't the players that were bundling me, it was the fans.
It could have been a lot worse, couldn't it? Because he was really travelling when he slid into you.
Yeah, do you know what? We kind of laugh about it now and we all kind of have a giggle about it, but I'm kind of glad I saw it and I managed to just turn my head at the last second because
it could have been
I think it could have done some serious damage if not.
Oh, wow.
And also, where's the broken down car? Did you just leave it?
You haven't just left it there, have you?
Yeah, to be fair, the AA come and helped me out and I managed to get it back to where I live, and then I managed to get a train to Bedford, so it was all going on, to be fair, on the Friday morning, but thankfully cars are at garages or in safe places.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, it's good that you're able, after all that, go out there and play your game. I suppose it was just a bit of a blessed relief to get on the pitch after all that, wasn't it?
Yeah, no, for sure. I was desperate to play, and obviously we're pushing for the playoffs and trying to get high up in the league as possible. So obviously told the gaffer I was desperate to play, and thankfully we went out and had a great day, and we won.
Now, you can put me right on this, but is it right that second plays seventh in the playoffs? Is that the way it works?
I believe so. It's quite confusing how the system works. It's obviously fifth versus seventh, I believe.
Right.
No, sorry, fourth versus seventh, fifth versus sixth, and then the winners of them go and play second and third. But I'm not too sure which way around it is. So there's kind of like a quarter-final before the semi-final. That's
right. It does ring a bell now. Because, I mean, this year has been crazy at the top. York City are on 107 points. Rochdale on 105 points. I think
and one of them won't go up automatically.
Which it does seem, I mean, there's been a big sort of clamour for more than one automatic place. It does feel wrong when you see two teams. I mean, you guys have had a good season, but those guys have just been ridiculous this season. And the fact that one of them won't go up automatically does feel criminal, really.
Yeah, no, for sure. It's very difficult because I think we've been shown over the last few years. I've been in the National League now for the last 4 years at Southend, and there's always been 2 or 3 teams that have been standout that have always got a crazy points tally, and it's just a shame because I think the competition now is better than ever, and I think you should be rewarded personally with 2 automatics and then a playoff spot. Yeah. And I think it just shows with the teams going into League 2 as well, and no one's really doing poorly. They always seem to be succeeding at the other end of the table. It just shows how kind of competitive the division is now in the National League.
And you're going to want to avoid in the playoffs Rochdale or York, depending on who goes up automatically, because they have been the standouts this year, haven't they?
Yeah, they've both been outstanding, to be fair, and they deserve to probably have a sudden death kind of game off at the end of the season because they both play each other. So hopefully we can avoid them. But if we do get them, means we've got through to the semi-final. We're only 1 game away from Wembley and possibly going up. So we kind of take it as it comes.
Have you played them? Presumably played them both this season already. How did it go?
Yes, we have played them. I think we drew both games against York, and then we lost one against Rochdale and beat Rochdale. So we match up quite well against them.
Yeah, excellent. And you've got a great knack of scoring goals, but you play from sort of at the back, full-back, wing-back. So did you play further up the pitch as a sort of earlier on in your career? Because I say you have got a bit of a knack of scoring goals.
Do you know what? I've always kind of been a right back, and to be fair, I have to give kind of my Hemel days and Lee Bircham days. They kind of pushed me forward to being a right wing back, and it kind of gave me a little bit more of a license to get forward. And it's kind of, I've never really looked back since. It's kind of been a bit of a knack to me, and managed to get in on the end of crosses and scoring goals. So hopefully I can carry that on.
Brilliant. Well, look, we wish you well tonight against Hartlepool, and we hope you get the car fixed before.
Thanks for coming on match day as well.
Yeah, it's very good of you. So, all the best.
I appreciate it, guys. Thanks for having me.
Take care. There we are. There's Gus Scott Morris there of Southend United, their defender. And, they're in action this evening. It's Paul Hawksbee, Andy Jacobs here on talkSPORT. Thanks for all your emails and texts this afternoon. Back on the world of bin raiding you've been telling us about, and the stuff that you've thrown out over the years. Sean Paul in Bournemouth says, my friend's dad pulled out a bottle of Baileys at Christmas. One of us happened to look at the sell-by date. It was 18 years out of date. And he said, oh, blimey, I'm sorry about that. I'm sure I've got another bottle somewhere, which he then found, and we discovered it was 21 years.
Oh, that's equaling my record. That's good.
Fantastic.
It might still be drinkable, though, wouldn't it? I mean,
no, I'm not really a sort of
it's got cream in it,
milky alcoholic drink.
It's definitely not going to be drinkable.
Sean, if you want to send that bottle of 21,
my wife would be happy to try it.
I mean, it's not whiskey, Andy. Vintage Baileys doesn't sound like a great idea. Really, been Christmas Day in the Lav. Anyway, Prince Nazim Hamid, the legend it is, pops in to see us very shortly. And Alan Suter from the world of darts will join us later on. And as will Joe Cole of Chelsea and West Ham fame. That's all to come.
What about Forest? Last four of a European competition, and they moved 5 points clear of the drop zone with that come-from-behind win against Burnley. But, of course, all the headlines are Morgan Gibbs-White. Now, look, he wasn't included in the 35-man squad for the last two England internationals. Yeah. There's been a bit of a clamour for him to be given a chance. Is it too late for him?
No, not at all. And a number of reasons. If he can continue that form, but I mean, his hat-trick was excellent, particularly goals 2 and 3. I thought the header was superb. I thought the finish for number 2, the volley at the back post, was excellent as well, and a good finish for the first one. So it's a brilliant hat-trick. How many times have we said it, Jeff? Those two games, that 35-man squad ended up a good squad to miss, right?
Yeah.
It really did, because the games, and there was nothing in any of the games where you'd think, oh, he's done himself a lot of good. He's done himself, you know what I mean? Because in terms of the final squad for the Americas, I looked at it, I think there's 3 or 4 players actually in the squad have done themselves more damage than good. So, in answer to your question, Gibbs-White, no, I genuinely don't think it is too late. And I understand the clamour, not just from some of the Forest fans, for him to be in that squad.
Do you think he will be?
If I was going to be brutally honest, I don't think he will be, Jeff. No, I don't. But I can understand the case for him to be in it. And the only thing he can do is what he's doing right now. Scoring goals, play well and keep Forest in the top flight. And then you give Thomas Tuchel a real... That's all you can do, a real dilemma, or pose him a problem, or ask him a question.
Lawrence Okoli is pointing to treatment for an elbow injury as a possible explanation for failing a drugs test. Okoli's planned heavyweight fight with Tony Yoka in Paris this Saturday is now up in smoke. White and Jordan spoke to Okoli's devastated promoter, Frank Warren.
We weren't made aware of this overnight, and obviously we didn't see it till this morning. But that's the situation, and we are looking at the moment to find a replacement opponent. That's where we're at.
The Times reports the banned substance is something called GHRP2 and it's M8 metabolite. It can increase muscle mass and improve recovery whilst being difficult to detect. Okoli says he's confident of clearing his name. Meanwhile, Baroness Brady has left her role as Vice Chair of West Ham to focus on her businesses and her role in the House of Lords. Former Crystal Palace Chairman Simon Jordan praised her for staying as long as she did.
I'm surprised she stayed with Sullivan and Gold initially as long as she did. I don't think she always saw eye to eye with them. I think that she's been very resourceful for them. A number of times she does a lot of their dirty work and gets things done.
Baroness Brady says lifting the Conference League trophy in 2023 will stay with her forever. Jeff Stelling's also hailed her as a standard bearer for women in the male-dominated world of football. And after former Chelsea boss Ruud Gullit stated it was too early to judge good coach Liam Rosenior, Scott Mintos echoed that feeling, telling us the lack of experienced players in the dressing room has made things impossible.
I feel for Liam. Yes, I understand that his CV didn't justify the job in the first place, but give him a chance and give him the tools. And I don't feel he's been given the tools.
Chelsea head to Brighton tonight, live on talkSPORT, looking to end a 4-match losing and goalless streak. There's more, as ever, on talksport.com.
You can't touch this. You can't touch this. You can't touch this. You can't touch this. My music hits me so hard, makes me sick.
Good afternoon, Paul Hawksbee, Andy Jacobs here on talkSPORT. That was the music that our next guest often appeared to in the ring. One of the most exciting fighters in British boxing history, always a great showman. Prince Nazim Hamid is with us. Hi, Naz, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. Nice to be here.
You've just been sitting having a chat. You and Simon Jordan have been sparring. How did that go?
Do you know what? I like Simon now. I had different feelings about before watching him on YouTube and stuff. But now, after we've had that nice little chat there, and it was comfortable in there. There's a good vibe in there.
Good.
Plus, I was two of my favourite fighters and friends, you know, in Spence and Paul.
Yeah,
you know,
Paul Smith, that's right. Was, a long time
I mean, they're the nicest people in boxing, by the way.
Yeah,
that's nice. We gather you sparred with Spencer at one point.
Yeah, well, young, you know, for England when we were kids, training camp. It was amazing.
Yeah. We've had a boxing story today. This is this Tony Yoka, Lawrence Okoli issue, and Lawrence Okoli's issued a statement. He has failed a drugs test. He has put out the mea culpa, and boxing has been a sport that seems more willing to listen to some of the reasons why boxers have failed drugs tests. We didn't realise until chatting to Spencer just now that from Tony Yoka's point of view, because this is devastating for him, is that he doesn't get paid, does he? He will not get paid now for this.
I don't know. I honestly don't know much about all the rules and regulations when it comes to anything to do with drugs. And
no, I think it's more about making weight. So if the fight doesn't happen, I mean, I think, as Frank Warren said earlier on, they're trying to find a replacement.
Yeah, if you don't make weight, you don't get paid.
No, but I mean, I'm working on the basis that this fight is now not going to happen for him.
Unless they allow you to fight.
Yeah.
Unless they come up with a substitute.
For a non-title or whatever, then you still get paid.
Yeah. So let's hope it does work out for him and they can find another opponent. And we'll find out in fullness of time what the story is with Lawrence Okoli. Often we look at all these fighters coming back these days and getting involved in sort of YouTube fights and stuff. And I often wonder, you packed up at 28, didn't you? There were reasons for that. You had a lot of injuries, hand injuries.
Yeah. And plus I achieved, thank God.
You did.
I achieved what I had to achieve in the sport that put my stamp on the sport.
Did you ever feel you retired too early? Couldn't you? In fact, you just couldn't carry on because of the hand injuries.
What people don't understand and don't know is when you start at the age of 7 and then you do it for 21 years, that in itself is some people's lifetimes. So that was a long slog for me and a long time, 21 years. And then fighting 10 years as a pro. But before I turned pro, imagine mastering the craft for more than 11 years. So 11 years before you step into the ring as a professional. I know there's probably many fighters that have done that. But when you're a devastating puncher like I was, when you could take them out and just lay them out, and at any time that, you know, any given round, whatever, even the 11th round, I've took guys out. So it doesn't matter whether it's early, middle, or late. And that's the thing. But the thing that you have to put up with is bad hands. You know, your hands break. My hands now and again still give me pain.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I just thank God that I was able to show the whole world something that they'd never seen before.
After that, they had one fight after the Barrera fight, and you called it a day. Was it had the spark gone? Was it just the hands, or did you not feel the same about the fight game after?
No, I actually felt like I would have loved to carry on. I would have loved to done loads of stuff in the sport, but I just felt like, what's the use in trying to go and do what you were going to do, but you can't do it because it won't work.
Yeah.
It's simple. If your hands keep breaking and every time you hit you get an obscene amount of pain, just listen. Listen. I won the world title and defended it 15 times and got all the rest of the belts. What more should I want?
Sure.
Right.
But plenty of fighters
it's good
do
to know
carry
when to
on.
quit, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
But listen, stopping boxing at 28, financially secure and with all my faculties, and that enables me to come in here and see you today and speak the way I speak.
Yeah.
That is a blessing in itself. Why can't many fighters get to an age and be happy with their careers and be content? I'm content from my heart of what Allah's wrote for me. You know, I believe in fate, and I'm blessed. I'm blessed to have done what I've done in the sport and come out of it like I did.
Yeah. Is it? I mean, you know, you're 28. You've achieved all you want to achieve. You say you're financially independent, but you know you've still got a lot of time. I mean, have you felt it since you were 28? You've kept busy. Did you ever sort of think about that and what the rest of your life was going to be?
So I took a good period out of my life. I didn't want to be. I mean, you need to understand that from a young age, I've been around people like you, been around press, I've been around the media. I've had to deal with a lot of that side of it, and that's what happens when you come. That's what comes with success in any sport or in anything. You have to deal with that side of it. I was looking forward to not having to deal with that anymore. I was looking forward to being a private man for a bit, having that opportunity to fly my boys and my beautiful wife anywhere in the world and enjoy that time with them, and I did that. I took so much time out. Not a lot of people saw me for a while. They said, you know, what's happened to him? You know, he was on the tip of our tongue for many, many years. And what's happened to him? Where is he? What is he doing today? Well, you know, now it's come a time when they start making movies about you, you need to start showing your face. And I just think there's a great future for my boys and for me to do stuff now. In regards of documentaries, a film, a book, and I'm looking forward for that whole successful journey, just like I had in my career. I also have something that nobody knows about, and I didn't mention it on talkSPORT, but I think I will here, and that is I've developed an amazing boxing concept that I honestly believe it will revolutionise the boxing scene today. And I think it needs it. And I've always thought, imagine bringing that form of entertainment inside a ring when I was fighting, but imagine the same outside of the ring. And what is it going to take to create something so special? And I honestly believe I've got it. It's took some time. I'm not going to say what it is,
okay,
because it's not the time to reveal it.
And will you promote that? Will you put that on that show?
I'm putting my name I put my name on that because it's something that we need in the sport. It's something that we need.
And when are we likely to see this, Naz?
Possibly, maybe next year.
Okay,
sounds good.
Maybe
intriguing.
Next year.
You mentioned,
but when I say to you, the day that people's eyes see this, it's for me. It's gonna shake up boxing in an amazing way.
Interesting. Okay, well we'll look out for that. You mentioned your boys and your children. So, have any of them shown any interest in boxing? How do you feel about them boxing?
Well, at first, I never ever wanted my sons to fight, and then obviously it's in the blood. I believe in genetics. And they've definitely showed me that exists. And the thing is, they love boxing, they love training, and all my three sons box.
Okay.
Are they showing any good? Well, I think they can be very good. Some of them, yeah, or maybe all of them. They're exciting.
Do you work with them? You train them?
So I don't personally train them, but I do something that's just as important, and that is I've known what it took in my game for the psychological aspect of it. So I speak to them and let them know what should be running through their mind before a fight.
Yeah.
And what they should be thinking about. And that's important. The mind game before the fight, what you should see, what you should visualize is very important.
Is it, I'd ask you though, I mean, because you've looked after them and you did brilliantly well yourself, is it hard for them to have the same hunger that you had? Is that a problem for them? Presumably these kids, you've looked after them really well.
Some people would say that kids brought up in a beautiful area like Virginia Water near a golf course, in down south, not too far from London, would say that, well, it's going to be very hard for them kids to do anything in sport or achieve anything. I don't really believe just where you're being brought up or where you're from could stop you from achieving what you want, your dreams. So I honestly think that my sons have got an amazing opportunity to produce the goods, to show how good they are, to entertain, and some of them have already done that. My middle son Adam, who's 25, he's had 7 fights and he's won 7. He trains so hard. All my sons train unbelievably hard. They're dedicated, and they've got that desire and they've got that will to win. So it's amazing. I'm looking forward to seeing how everything unfolds for them in the future, and I just believe it should be good.
Just a quick one on Anthony Joshua, Tyson Fury. Should it happen this year? I mean, it is. I think we all feel that it's a few years too late. But how do you feel about that as a prospect? And who do you see coming out on top, Nez?
Yeah, I think it is about 5 years, maybe 10 years too late. But look, if it's going to happen, all well and good. It's something that the country deserves to see, and I would like to be there. I'd like to witness the winner of that fight. I've actually just said on talkSPORT that I think it possibly may be a draw.
What, really?
Good
yeah.
For a rematch.
Well, I mean,
they'd
ideally like more than one fight, wouldn't they, having gone that far? But time's against them to an extent, isn't it, really?
Yeah. I mean, like we said, this fight should have happened a long, long time ago. I think that, AJ wants one more fight, being Wilder, and then he's ready.
Yeah.
And I think, obviously, Tyson's always been Tyson. He's been great for the sport. I mean, I remember what I did and what colour that I brought But then Tyson came along and just did it as a heavyweight in an unbelievable way, caused, so much colour in the sport, and people love him. And I think people are understanding who he really is and what he's about because of Netflix. It's so good to be able to see him in his own surroundings and how he is. I mean, and the whole country's fell in love with Tyson Fury, and I just love the fact that he did say to me that he named his son Prince after me.
Really?
I'm his favourite British fighter, he said. So I love that about Tyson. So big respect to Mr. Fury.
So come and see us next year when you've got your plans off the ground, and
you're going to love
a bit more. Sounds interesting.
I'm looking forward for this whole thing coming out. I've been working on it recently. It's going to take a little bit of time. It's going to take some time, but it's going to be great for boxing.
We wish you well with it.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Good to see you, Naz. Thanks very much. There's
Cheers.
Prince Nazim Hamed there. Our thanks to him, and you'll hear his chat with Simon Jordan, Spencer Oliver and Paul Smith on Talk Boxing tonight on the TalkSport Boxing YouTube channel at 8 o'clock. Alan Suter from the World of Darts joining us. He runs the marathon this weekend. He's going to tell us about that and how the darts fraternity have helped him out. And we'll do a bit of Arbroath as well with Alan. We're here with Tool Station. Get your home spring ready with great deals on top paint brands like Dulux, Crown and Leyland. Next stop, Tool Station.
So what's going on at Newcastle United? Newcastle made it 3 defeats in a row, 8 losses in the last 11. They were beaten 2-1 at home to Bournemouth. And yet going into this game, Eddie Howe was more or less pretty upbeat, as you'd expect.
In terms of my fire, my fire is burning very, very strongly. That's no guarantee, obviously, from my side, what's going to happen in the future, because, as I've said, the forces that move in football clubs, they move quickly. But my fire is there. There's loads of wood stacked up, and I'm ready to put it on it.
That was before the game against Bournemouth, a game they lost by 2-1 at home. Eddie spoke to the written media post-match. This was a reporter engaging with Eddie regards what he feels he is, or maybe not, getting out of the players. Now, before he answers, it's the all-important pause that comes from Eddie.
You spoke yesterday about your fight being as strong as ever. Do the players have the same fire inside them still?
Yeah, I mean, I'm hesitating because I'm speaking on behalf of other people, and that's very difficult to do. I believe they do, and as I say, from what I see in the training ground, I don't see any sense of poor attitude or poor commitment to their work. I see a group of players that are always giving their all. I don't see an issue in that.
got no money, he's got his strong beliefs. My lover's got no power, he's got his strong beliefs.
I'll tell you what, from a personal point of view, it's great to hear that again because they play it after Spurs have won a game at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. So I feel I haven't heard it for about 3 years. Free from Desire, that's the walk-on music also for good. Scotland's very own PDC darts player Alan Suter. He runs the marathon this weekend, and the Darts Brotherhood and Sisterhood have stepped up to help out. And Alan joins us now. Hi, Alan.
Hi, how you doing, guys? All right?
Yeah, we're not so bad. I've just seen one of your Facebook posts. You're done with the training now. It's all about the big day. What's the furthest you've run? What's the furthest distance you've run in your build up to this?
Yeah, so I've done a 20 miler last month, but you start tapering off, getting ready for the big weekend this weekend. So yeah, in total 256 miles I've ran since January.
Wow.
So I've put the effort in.
Had you always been a runner, or did you have to really put this? Was this kind of new to you?
Yeah, so I'm an ex-soldier.
Right.
I was a cross-country runner also at school and through my younger army days. So yeah, it's something that I haven't done for a long time, but right back into it and absolutely loving it this last couple of months.
The fitness of darts players has changed, hasn't it, over the years? I mean, it's hard to imagine Jockey Wilson.
Yeah, Big Cliff, unlikely to have done the marathon. I would have thought, yeah.
Yeah, it's very different now, guys. I think a lot of the younger guys coming through are not the same ilk as the old school dart guys, so it has changed a lot, and a lot of guys are looking after themselves now, which it actually spurs me on to do it as well at an older age, and a guy that played in the era of the lakeside and the old school darts the way it used to be.
Yeah. So, what have you got a time in mind, or not, Alan?
Yeah, I think when you go into it, you just want to complete the marathon. But once you start training, and I've started realising that I've got my fitness back, so I'm aiming for 3 hours 45.
That's good.
I reckon I'm going to try and do it in that time.
You're not going to be dressed as a dartboard, though, not one of those.
No.
I think I'm just going to wear shorts and a t-shirt. My guide dog t-shirt will be the heaviest thing that I have on.
Yeah. Now, it's all for guide dogs, isn't it? You're raising money for Guide Dogs UK. And I didn't realise that you do a lot of work with guide dogs, don't you?
Yeah, so myself and my partner Amanda are puppy raisers for guide dogs up in Scotland, and we've been doing it for almost a decade now. So we're on guide dog number 8, the puppy. So we puppy raise. So from our point of view, doing it for Guide Dogs UK is huge for us. We know the impact that what we do at our level has on people with sight loss. So to give something back and to raise some money to help that good cause is something I'm quite happy to do.
That is a thankless task because having a dog as a puppy that's the hard bit, isn't it? It's like having a newborn baby a lot of the time. So it's the fact you keep going back and have that many of them. That is tough.
Yeah, I think doing it 8 times in a row now, you do. It is that puppy stage is the hardest part. Once you get them past the sort of 6-7 months, it becomes a bit easier. But yeah, it is. Every time you get a new puppy, it's very hard.
Yeah. Once they're trained, do you ever sort of reunite with them? Do you ever see them again?
Yeah, of course. Guide Dogs is really good at that, actually. And I think the best thing, maybe to explain, next month, myself and Amanda are going over to Belfast. We have 2 guide dogs, working guide dogs, that we trained as puppies. So we're going over to Belfast to see both of them next month. So, yeah, it's really good to keep a link. And Guide Dog's really good at allowing that system to operate. And everyone that's been part of the dog's journey, getting it to be a guide dog, they're still involved in it and right through its whole life as a working guide dog.
Now, we mentioned that a lot of your fellow darts players have stepped up to help out. You've been raffling off signed shirts from the Premier League players, Luke Letland, Luke Humphries, Michael van Gerwen, Gerwin Price. Lots of the other boys have been helping you out, haven't they?
Yeah, it's tremendous. As soon as I asked the guys in one of the pro tours, I just approached them one at a time and says, look, I'm doing the London Marathon, guys. You guys are all the top of the game, Premier League players. Is there any way that you can give me even a signed shirt? And that's how it started off. And to be honest, I can see everybody else fundraising for guide dogs around me, and they don't have the same leverage or the same pool that these guys do. So, yeah, Luke Littler's shirt, for example, went for almost £2,500.
Cool.
So So that money going into the pot for me has been fantastic, and I'm almost at £9,000 as we sit today. So I'm indebted to the guys for stepping up, and they might think it's only a shirt to them, but in the greater scheme of it, the money that's going to go towards a great cause like Guide Dogs is superb.
Luke Littler's been getting a bit of stick, Al, hasn't he? I suppose it's tall poppy syndrome to an extent. It's sort of panto booing, and he seems to handle it well. But what do you make of it?
Yeah, obviously I've been watching the Euro Tour because I've not been involved in the last few, and I think when he goes to Germany, he does get the crowd against him, which is new for Luke because he's been the diamond, he's been shining bright, and I think he deals with it quite well, and he's quite comedic as well. He takes it a bit of tongue in cheek, and he gives it a bit back to the crowd, so I think that endears him to them, but also the pantomime villain thing, it's someone I think it's also a British thing. When someone gets to the top, we try and cut them down a little bit, Yeah. So, no, but he's a great lad, and I've known him since he's 10, 11 years old, and he's what he's done for that is incredible.
And finally, Arbroath are your team, is that right?
Yes, super red lichties.
And they're not doing so bad in the Championship, are they, in the sort of playoff spots?
Yeah, so we were relegated 2 seasons ago, then we won the league and came straight back up to the Championship. And then from that, we finished in the top 4 this year. There's only 2 games left, and we guaranteed the playoffs for the Premiership. So the only part-time team in the Championship in Scotland. So fantastic again, and a great year for them.
Yeah. Coming off that very impressive win against Bonaccord.
Yeah, they're still dining out on the old 36 now, aren't they?
we have to. That's about all we have to cling on to. It's a remarkable scoreline, isn't it?
You'll never sing that. You don't get to play Bonaccord very often, do you? It must be great when they have to rock up. Their fans have to rock up. It must be difficult. So if people want to sponsor you, Alan, if they want to give you a few quid for Guide Dogs, where do they go?
Yeah, so they can go. There's an huge page, fundraising page that they can go to, but they can also just look for me on social media, all the platforms. I'm on them all. Hit me up, have a look at it, even message me. But yeah, anything that they can do towards raising a little bit more money. I'd love to get over 10 grand by Sunday, but that'd be special. So yeah, any way that people can help out that's listening or watching, thank you.
Okay, brilliant. Excellent. We'll put a link on the Hawksbee and Jacobs Twitter feed a little bit later on so people can click through from there. But all the best, Alan. Hope it goes well for you. Thanks very much.
Thanks for having me on, guys. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yes, Alan Suter there, darts player and proud Arbroath fan. And you'll see him in action. Give him a cheer if you see him running at the weekend. You've been along to watch the marathon. Have you been over the years? Have you been before?
No, I've never actually attended.
It's great. It's a really lovely day. I've had friends who've done it. My son, my oldest son, did it a few years back and went and watched it. It's brilliant. It's a really lovely day out.
Moose did it one year, didn't he? Walk round.
He did. I think he did it about 7 hours. Didn't he? Well, look, he got round.
He got round.
One of our other producers did it quite last minute and did it in his shoes.
Good old Steve.
Yeah. Not so bad.
I always say that when I see him at Brentford, I was
you can see him
even on Saturday,
running the marathon in his shoes.
Yeah, I could see him doing the marathon.
Pair of slip-ons.
I think he just rocked up and did it. Incredible.
Crazy. Anyway, Mark Albrighton joins us for a chat in the next hour. Big night for Leicester. It's live on talkSPORT. They take on Hull City, and I think anything but a win sees them relegated. Hard to believe as we hit the 10th anniversary of winning the Premier League.
George Best painting, anybody found?
Nobody yet, not that I can see. And Joe Cole joins us for a chat. That's coming up in a few moments' time.
Of course, you've been working hard for once, and have worked out how many points City and Arsenal will
I've got it all
finish on.
sorted. Just to clarify, put everybody's mind at rest. City next game, Burnley 3 points, Everton away a point, Brentford home 3 points, Bournemouth away 1 point, Palace at home 3 points, Villa 3 points. That means they're going to get 14 points. Arsenal, Newcastle at home 3 points, Fulham at home 3 points, West Ham away 1 point, Burnley at home 3 points, Palace away 3 points. Arsenal are winning it by 2 points. Let's move on.
Arsenal winning it by 2 points.
Yes.
Just run through those again for me.
Sure. Sure. Okay.
City, go through the City. What you give City? 3v Burnley.
Yes.
Yeah.
1 at Everton.
All right, okay.
3 at is it Brentford?
Yeah.
1 at Bournemouth.
Yeah.
3 at Palace and 3 at Villa.
14.
Yep.
And you give Arsenal
3 at Newcastle.
Yeah.
3 at Fulham.
Yeah.
1 at West Ham. 3 at Burnley and 3 at Palace.
Well, that's 13.
Correct. But remember, I've got a game in hand.
Arsenal, so you're saying City win it?
No. Remember, because City have played 1 game less.
Yes.
And they're 3 points behind.
Right. Okay, yeah. 60.
You got it?
Yeah. Okay. But you're giving... this is working well, isn't it?
I said to you, Ollie...
talkSPORT Sports Update, powered by the Nissan Van range, supporting van owners to get the job done. Search Nissan Vans or head to your local Nissan Van Centre.
Good afternoon with your headlines. I'm Uma Gurav. No room for error. Pep Guardiola's told the media Arsenal and Man City are very aware any slip-ups from now could cost them everything.
Both teams know we cannot lose or drop points, so now it will be difficult to recover. In our calendar is so demanding, so of course the 3 days and after, but especially when an Everton game the opponents are really, really tough.
Guardiola says it's harder for his team mentally and physically, being the chasing team in the title race. He's also confirmed Rodri is out with a groin injury for City's trip to Burnley tomorrow. Ruben Diaz not back for this one either. City would go top with a win, which would also relegate Burnley. Elsewhere this afternoon, outgoing Bournemouth manager Andoni Iraola says the club will be in good hands with his successor Marco Rosa. The ex-Dortmund boss is taking over at the end of the season. Speaking of Europe, Chelsea's Champions League hopes are fading fast after 4 losses on the bounce. Liam Rossini's admitted they're in a mess of their own making.
We've made it very difficult for ourselves. We have to be honest and realistic with that, but what we can't do is give up. We have to keep fighting.
Brighton can leapfrog Chelsea into 6th with a win tonight live on talkSPORT. Meanwhile, we understand Jared Branthwaite's season is now over. The Everton defender faces 2 months on the sideline with a hamstring injury. It also ends any hopes of him going to the World Cup. Now, as Baroness Karen Brady departs her role as Vice Chair at West Ham after 16 years, how will she be remembered? Here's talkSPORT's Chief Football Correspondent Alex Crook.
Her legacy will be overseeing the controversial move from Upton Park to London Stadium. They have won a European trophy on her watch, that Conference League success a couple of years ago. But she's been a divisive character, hasn't she? Alongside David Sullivan, there have been big protests from West Ham fans.
And Lawrence Okoli is confident he can clear his name after failing a drugs test. He was due to fight Tony Yoka this weekend. There's more on that at talksport.com.
talkSPORT News.
An emergency debate on Peter Mandelson's appointment process has just begun in the Commons, and a former X Factor finalist has been remanded in custody, charged with attempting to murder a social media influencer. Emma has more at past.
talkSPORT weather with QuickFit. With over 600 centres across the UK, most of which open 7 days a week, we're always there when you need us. QuickFit. Drive away happy every time.
Patchy cloud and showers gradually fading away. Sunny spells will develop and it should feel warm this afternoon.
Good afternoon, Paul Hawksbee and Andy Jacobs here on talkSPORT. Still to come this afternoon, Mark Albrighton joins us ahead of Leicester Hull tonight. Leicester need to win to stay in the Championship. It's a bit of a sobering thought, but Mark will join us for a chat Callum Stark, a North Yorkshire farmer, has turned his potato store into paddle courts, and he's reaping the benefits, as he'll explain later on. Before that, though, 51 days to go before the start of the World Cup. And joining us now to chat about that and some of his old clubs as well is the former England midfielder, Joe Cole. Hi, Joe.
Hello, guys. How are we?
Good, thank you. Before we get underway...
we're not that good football-wise.
No, we're not. No, as Tottenham and Chelsea fans, it's not going
Well,
swimmingly,
yeah.
but we'll come back to that. You're doing a bit of work with Samsung. They've got this Raise the Bar competition. They're willing to go into some pubs that have got equipment that maybe isn't up to scratch, isn't state-of-the-art, and kit it out. Your local could have state-of-the-art equipment, couldn't it?
It could. I mean, I'm living in Chelsea at the moment, so the locals around here are pretty equipped. But if your boozer's not up to scratch, get in touch with Samsung and nominate them, and they will come down and put it all bells and whistles, everything. So you could all watch the World Cup. And I think it's a brilliant little campaign. I'm enjoying it.
That would be because people will be picky, won't they? They'll look. There's going to be a lot of pubs showing the World Cup, and if somebody's got a tiny little telly and it's not very good, they'll just move on to the next pub, won't they?
Yeah, absolutely. You have to be able to get a good view when you're in the pub. So nominate your local boozer, and the landlord will be delighted as well. So there'll be a nice slate for you, I'm sure.
I'm sure.
Yeah, it was an interesting piece in the paper last week about how you need to book up your place especially for England games because they're already selling out.
Book your tables, Go and check out the Raise the Bar campaign on the Samsung website, and maybe your pub will get all that excellent equipment. How are you feeling about the World Cup, Joe, from an England point of view?
Well, usually I think I've backed England for the last 4 or 5 tournaments. And obviously that we all know how that's gone, although we have done fantastically well. I'm a little bit more cautious going into this one. Obviously, Thomas Tuchel's first tournament. I know the friendlies and leading up haven't been great, and I know you cannot, put too much into that. But there's a lot of the top players not on their absolute best. What I would say about Thomas is he's got a clear plan. Like he's got a style of player he likes, and it's not going to be everyone's cup of tea. And it's the eternal debate in pubs around and everywhere. Fans will be thinking, everyone's an England manager from behind the bar, ain't they? So, but what I would say with Thomas is he's strong, he's firm, and he picks players that he believes in. And I think that maybe in previous England managers and maybe Gareth to a certain degree as well have gone with trying to shoehorn players in and I think so. I think Thomas that's a strength of his. So that's going to be new going into this World Cup. I think you'll see Elliot Anderson starting, and a couple of players who people think should be starting probably not. So I think Thomas will stay true to he'll stick to his guns, I believe.
Players like Harry Kane, Bellingham last week, O'Reilly, they're in good form. Also in good form, I thought, playing for Real Madrid was Trent, and he just doesn't seem to get a look in. And he puts in crosses. I know Reece James is, you hope he's going to be fit and you hope he's going to be there, but he's a good player.
He does offer something that no other player seems to have. Are you a bit surprised that he looks like he's not going to be going, Joe?
I am. It's funny, I've gone back and forth with Trent, and because I don't want to fall into into the thing where it was like, with Glenn Hoddle didn't play enough for England, Paul Scholes didn't play enough for England. We've had loads of players, like technical players, and obviously there is limitations to Trent's game. He's not nobody's the perfect player, but you're right. Like you look at him, he's playing for Real Madrid, and he wasn't in the 35. I mean, what we're not party to, what we don't understand is the dynamic within the squad. And sometimes that you can't whenever you ask anyone to pick their squad, they'll pick it on who they like as players, what they're seeing and them doing. But there is a dynamic when you go to a World Cup where it's an unseen thing where how are they with players? How does he affect him? Do you know what I mean?
Good travellers they're looking for.
They say good travellers, but I think it's a little bit more nuanced than that. And the only person in the country with all of the information is Thomas Tuchel.
Sure.
So, what I dislike about going into World Cups. I wish once he's picked his squad and we'll debate, I wish everyone would just get behind him. Not talking about the players who are sitting on the bench not playing or the players not on the plane. Just like once he's done, everyone put it aside. The lads are going out there to do it and just get behind them. But when it's up for grabs, it is a debate because he is such a talented footballer, Trent.
Now, let's have a chat about Chelsea, who are going through it. They play Brighton tonight. We got the game on talkSPORT. And, yeah, it's been a tough old time for Liam Rosenior since he's come in. What are you making? What's going on there?
Well, it's certainly not going to plan. That's for sure. You know, like there's no amount of PR that can come out the club that will make it like. I saw a stat the other day that Chelsea haven't got over 40,000 in the stadium, so fans are starting to vote with their feet. And football fans, especially the hardcore ones, no amount of PR or clever marketing is going to, you know, they see with their eyes and they don't like what they see on the pitch. So that I wouldn't say it surprised me, but it's the first time. I think that's the sort of thing that will make the ownership take note. You know, you're not selling tickets. I've been, you know, I like the people in charge in terms the times I've met them. They're nice people, but I've said it for about 18 months now. I'll let this breathe and see how this goes. But knowing what I know about football teams, and you know, obviously been in amongst it all my life, you can't do both things. You can't challenge for trophies and develop players as assets at the same time. It don't work. The old-fashioned one where Alan Hansen said about you don't win anything with kids, and then United did effectively. But they were good kids, and it was a different era.
And they had
players like they had great experienced players that played alongside them.
Exactly. So I thought I didn't want to jump in and dive in early on and say this, you know, let's see how this goes. But up 18 months ago, the players looked like they needed experience on the pitch, and when you try and explain to them as a footballer the lessons you learn by having experienced players, not only in the heat of battle in the game, and sometimes it's not even something they say to you, it's how they behave in situations. And also, that's forgetting the day-to-day in the training ground, you know, how setting the culture, you know, what the senior players do. Chelsea got none of that. And you could have the best coaches in the world. You could line up the best coaches in the world, but dressing rooms, if the manager's done his job properly, dressing rooms take care of themselves, and you're like spinning plates, and then you'll just step back as a manager and you're looking and I need to deal with that situation, or I need to deal with that situation. But so they've got none of that, Chelsea, and they're trying to. So I thought they're waiting for it to happen. But when you wait for these players to become experienced players, they're missing a lot of their education. It's like having a Harvard education, but missing 3 months here and 2 months there.
Yeah.
When you get out into the real world, there'll be holes in it. And in the heat of battle, effectively, it's the reason why Chelsea have lost 4 games in a row. You know,
I think they've only won 1 out of the last 9 Premier League games.
Right.
New records in futility. And they talk about it being a results business, and if that's the case, I can't see how this ends.
Joe, before we let you go, just a quick one on West Ham. They've put a little run of results together. Got another point last night. That may end up being an important one. Who knows? But do you fancy their chances of staying up? Who's more likely to go down in your eyes from what you've seen?
I do fancy their chances of staying up. I think Nuno's done a great job. The way he's moulded that team. There's a reason Nuno's, you know, a top manager, and he knows the situation. I thought he was a brilliant appointment, and the Mavropanos has been absolutely outstanding. It's been great for me. I mean, you know, all my mates are West Ham, Tottenham or Chelsea. So the amount of anxiety and things going off in the group chats at the moment. And the thing is, I think as an ex-player, you sort of, I feel like I'm immune to it, because you see all the twists and turns in football, like like you're an old wild, but the people are having kittens, the Spurs fans, the West Ham fans, the Arsenal fans. And I'm just sitting back, and I think West Ham will stay up. I think Arsenal hang on and win the league, and I think Spurs go down. And I know that's going to make me popular and unpopular in parts of North London.
Well, Joe, good to talk to you. Appreciate it. All the best.
Great to talk to you, chaps.
Take care. There's Joe Cole there, the former Chelsea West Ham and England midfielder. So still to come, Mark Albrighton joins us. Leicester will definitely be down unless they beat Hull tonight. And we'll bring you that game. Ian Danter and Adrian Clark, your commentary team, and Mark Albrighton joining us for a chat ahead of that game. And we're going to find out a little bit more about, we're talking Chelsea there, would you? There's been some stories about Cesc Fabregas, their former player, maybe taking over in the fullness of time. Daniele Fisichella,
I'm doing the praying emoji.
Yes, our Italian football expert, joins us to talk about that. And Leonardo Bonucci saying how much he'd love Pep Guardiola to be the next Italy manager. That one came out of left field, but apparently there's been rumours and reports. Anyway, we'll bring you more on that in a few moments' time. We're here with our good friends at Toolstation. Check out their wide range of garden power tools with brands such as Bosch and Ryobi. Next stop, Toolstation.
Tottenham under the Zerbi. A new lease of life. Can they go on and win all 5 remaining games? Yeah, says De Zerbi.
I think we can win 5 games in a row. Not to be arrogant, because I'm not arrogant now, especially now. But we have the qualities enough to fight and to win games in a row. They have to listen to me. I'm proud for their performance. They have to be stronger and to be focused just on Wolverhampton game and to come in training ground on Monday afternoon with a smile, because otherwise they go home immediately. We are lucky because we are working in a big club, a big stadium. We are working in Premier League. We have the qualities, the right qualities to win the game. So we have to be positive, because I don't like the people who cried, who thinks in negative way.
Oof. You don't really want to get in the wrong side of him, do you? Spurs have got Wolves away, Villa away, Leeds at home, Chelsea away, Everton at home. He says they can win all 5, Simon.
Can. I doubt whether they will. I mean, we can all do things, can't we? But whether we ultimately achieve them is a different matter. He is setting up his stall to try and achieve what he's been brought in to achieve.
Good afternoon, Paul Hawksbee, Andy Jacobs here on talkSPORT at 4. Andy Goldstein and Darren Bent bring you drive, building up to all tonight's big games in the Premier League and beyond. Now, over in Italy, the Serie A champions-elect Inter take on Cesc Fabregas's Como, and they've been flying pretty high, about 5th in the table, European football potentially for them. And he's been building quite the reputation, Cesc Fabregas at Como. He's been linked with other jobs, but has stayed loyal to them so far. But if big jobs come along, he's bound to be interested, and he's been linked to Chelsea, potentially his old club. We thought we would test the strength of that, and Pep as the next Italy manager, which is a great story. Daniele Fisichella, Italian football expert, joins us. Hi, Daniele.
Hi, good afternoon.
Let's start with Cesc Fabregas. I mean, has there been much talk in Italy about the prospect of him jumping ship and going to Chelsea?
Well, I think Cesc Fabregas has become a household name in Serie A first. He has got a contract with Como until 2028. And of course, he's on the verge of taking the team for the first ever time to play in Europe, where is the Champions League, unlikely, more likely the Europa League. But Cesc Fabregas in these months has become an extremely divisive figure in Italy as well. He's a maverick, and he has introduced a way of playing football in Italy that perhaps is not common. Basically, he wants his team to play on the attack and dominate possession rather than stay back and play on a 3-5-2 formation, which is the norm, unfortunately, in Serie A. And this is a team, Como, that dominates football and dominates possession a lot, creates a lot of chances, is a very young squad as well, which sometimes doesn't get what they deserve. And however, Cesc Fabregas has divided the opinion in Italy because there are often and always a lot of pundits and a lot of fans alike who prefers results over style. And in the last few months, there is almost a fringe of people that when Como loses, without deserving, they're almost happy for him to lose. And I think this somehow is pushing Cesc Fabregas away. We are, Italians, wasting a great opportunity of maybe having Cesc Fabregas for a couple of seasons more, as I'm sure he would like to stay because he really loves the project of Como. So although there's been no many talks of him moving away, because of course he's got a contract that he might be extended, I'm not too sure that comes the end of the season, if this polemics continues, he might want to stay in a landscape where he might not feel too welcome.
If he was a slave to entertaining football and it wasn't working, you could understand the pushback. But he's getting results. He's taking a team with a young squad, as you said, into Europe, which is amazing. So he's getting results and he's entertaining. So what's not to like?
Well, the problem is that for somebody, the fact that Cesc Fabregas himself has criticized Italian football, saying that there is too much emphasis on results, that perhaps Italian players are not at the standard that he requires. And in fact, at Como, there are almost no Italian players at all. Basically, Cesc spoke his mind and said the truth. The fact that he comes from a foreign manager, a young manager, hasn't really sat well with a part of the critics, which I do not agree with, absolutely. Therefore, every time he loses, there is almost a remark, well, he's so Como lost, you didn't need to have 75% of the ball, whereas a manager like Max Allegri, who recently beat him with AC Milan by playing a completely defensive game, or other managers get the results done. So I think it's a bit of a conundrum, but for Cesc to live this environment all the time, he must be extremely tough. On the other hand, he's been recognized by colleagues because he received a prestigious prize that is given to managers in Italy every year, the Premio Bearzot, at the memory of Enzo Bearzot, the famous manager of 1982. So obviously there are people who are on his camp as well. But as you said, it's quite surprisingly that he has split opinion so much, given the Como are where they are.
It's hard to defend the Italian football methods, isn't it? Given the lack of participation in the World Cup, that kind of brings us on to this.
It does lead us into this. We're going to hear from Leonardo Bonucci, one of the great Italian defenders of all time, and he was chatting to Sky Sports about the future of the national team, and he mentioned the person he'd like to take over.
Well, I don't know. I read on the newspaper that Guardiola will be possible as Conte or Allegri. The most important that is the new chapter for the Italian soccer and a soccer player. I love him. I think he's the one of the best coaches in the world. So for us could be very important.
What about that then? Pep as the Italy manager.
Any chance?
I don't know what newspaper that was in. I hadn't spotted it. I mean, was that one of the Italian papers, Daniele?
Yeah, it was on Italian papers, La Gazzetta dello Sport and others this morning. Well, dreaming doesn't cost anything, of course, but I think getting Pep Guardiola to the Italian FA will cost a pretty penny, considering that the Italian manager is not the highest paid manager in the land. However, it would be great. I'm sure if Pep would accept, it would not just be about the money, but it would be about the project. The question is, can the Italian FA seduce Pep Guardiola and get him to rebuild completely what is the state of Italian football? Because what Italian football really needs at the moment is a manager, a national coach, of course, who can be the catalyst for change, who can instill the change not only in the main team, but also the youth teams, the youth system, and make sure that the talent that often Italy produces but stops at under 18, under 17, under 20, which by the way, they are very successful national team. Well, the problem is that then there is a blockage and there is almost a bottleneck in Serie A. Therefore, the talent doesn't translate into the national team. So having somebody from abroad, someone external like Pep Guardiola or any other foreign manager, people have mentioned also the name of Jurgen Klopp, would be great because I think they will bring a fresh mentality. Unfortunately, it seems unlikely. The front runners at the moment are Massimiliano Allegri, currently in Milan, Antonio Conte, who candidate himself, of course. You would expect that from Conte, saying, well, I would be perfect for the job. If I was the president of EFA, I would hire myself. That's what he said. And then there are other few names as well. But I think Italy are at a crucial juncture. They cannot miss the opportunity to have somebody who can change radically the system. They don't need just to qualify for the next Euros. That's going to be easy, hopefully, with 24 teams. But they need a project that will take football into a different direction. And Pep, of course, will be perfect. But I'm afraid it might just be a dream.
Good stuff, Daniele. Good to talk to you as always. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Daniele Fisichella, Italian football expert on those two stories and that Coppa Italia game this evening. It's 0-0 from the first leg, but they go to Inter. And if they can get a result there, that would be something to reach the final.
Absolutely.
That would raise the bar once again. Anyway, something we mentioned yesterday, we were talking about paddle. Our guest had played paddle in the last few weeks with Cristiano Ronaldo and David Beckham and told us who was the best. Although John Terry was the king of the football in paddle players in his eyes. But we were chatting about it. We did mention that we'd read a story of a farmer up in Yorkshire who'd turned his potato store into paddle courts. And it had been a very good move business-wise. We're going to have a chat with that particular farmer, Callum Stark, in a few moments' time. Then we'll be chatting to Mark Albrighton ahead of our Championship commentary game tonight, Leicester Hull, a game in which, unless Leicester get all 3 points, they will be relegated to League One. That's all coming up after the news headlines.
love was in the air in the Garden of England, Kent, at the weekend. talkSPORT's very own Jamie O'Hara tied the knot with his fiancée, and as you'd expect, his co-host Jason Cundy was in attendance, sporting his Ange Postecoglou mask, as viewers of YouTube or smart TV will be able to see right now. Jason's in the building to record another edition of Inside Chelsea. I'm pleased to say he's in the studio.
Good morning, gentlemen. Good morning, everyone. How are we?
Morning, Chase. How long did it take you to decide you were going to wear the mask?
Oh, no time at all. That mask was always coming. The photos are great. I've just seen myself on the dance floor. They're big Ange on the dance floor.
By the way,
throwing
Jace,
some shapes.
Oh, Jace, you took the words out of my mouth, mate. I'm going to tell you right now, I can't see Big Ange moving like that. I mean, I love Big Ange.
Mind you,
he ain't moving like that, mate.
Coisty, I've got to tell you, mate, on Sunday morning I paid for it. Yeah, those moves come with a price.
Yeah. So this was an early fixture. It was a 2 o'clock kickoff.
It was. I've got to say, what a brilliant day. It was so well put together. The weather was fabulous. His wife looked stunning. Jay looked fab. It was just a brilliant day. Everything went the way he wanted it to go.
Yeah.
And then they went to the reception. The reception was fab. And then, as you can see there, I was enjoying myself, throwing a few shapes. The hips were... snake hips came out, which is rare these days for me.
Brilliant.
But it was just a fabulous day. Really brilliant day.
So I assume you avoid watching Chelsea against Man United then,
well, as it turned out, the day... It's amazing when you don't... Because of... Listen, I've covered every Chelsea game, and it was on my mind, but when you're at a wedding, you know, you're X amount of bottles of champagne deep, it kind of softens the blow.
Lawrence Okoli is pointing to treatment for an elbow injury as a possible explanation for failing a drugs test. Okoli's planned heavyweight fight with Tony Yoka in Paris this Saturday is now up in smoke. White and Jordan spoke to Okoli's devastated promoter, Frank Warren.
We weren't made aware of this overnight, and obviously we didn't see it till this morning. But that's the situation, and we are looking at the moment to find a replacement opponent. That's where we're at.
The Times reports the banned substance is something called GHRP2 and it's M8 metabolite. It can increase muscle mass and improve recovery whilst being difficult to detect. Okoli says he's confident of clearing his name. Meanwhile, Baroness Brady has left her role as Vice Chair of West Ham to focus on her businesses and her role in the House of Lords. Former Crystal Palace Chairman Simon Jordan praised her for staying as long as she did.
I'm surprised she stayed with Sullivan and Gold initially as long as she did. I don't think she always saw eye to eye with them. I think that she's been very resourceful for them. A number of times she does a lot of their dirty work and gets things done.
Baroness Brady says lifting the Conference League trophy in 2023 will stay with her forever. Jeff Stelling's also hailed her as a standard bearer for women in the male-dominated world of football. And after former Chelsea boss Ruud Gullit stated it was too early to judge good coach Liam Rosenior, Scott Mintos echoed that feeling, telling us the lack of experienced players in the dressing room has made things impossible.
I feel for Liam. Yes, I understand that his CV didn't justify the job in the first place, but give him a chance and give him the tools. And I don't feel he's been given the tools.
Chelsea head to Brighton tonight, live on talkSPORT, looking to end a 4-match losing and goalless streak. There's more, as ever, on talkSPORT.com.
Thanks for all your emails and text tweets this afternoon. We're getting all sorts of stories from people. I fished it out the bin, a pair of Cristiano Ronaldo's boots fished out of a bin at the United training ground. They're going to go on sale at auction soon. Keith, a Newport fan, tells the story, just to paraphrase it. He went racing in Tucson, Arizona, and noticed in a bin there somebody had chucked the remaining race card away. They only got there for race 13. There were 4 races left.
Okay.
So obviously the guy had whoever had thrown it in the bin had not won on those first 13 races, but had marked up the race card.
Oh, really?
So they fought him for a penny. Got on the last 4 races, and they all came in.
That is amazing.
What about that? They could never give him the credit for it. And
he must have known that happened, though. He would have remembered I bet he checked.
And his wife had kept a 21-year-old fish seasoning in the cupboard and didn't throw it out. I moved into a flat a while back and found it was an old council flat, and there was a can of corned beef from 1991 left in the back of the pantry.
That's the new record.
My mate came round and said, "Oh, stuff like that, tin meat, that'll last forever. That's fine. I'll open that and eat it." Yeah, he opened it. We had to get all the windows and doors open.
Oh, for goodness.
Obviously, a bit of contamination had got in. Andy in the Black Country. So thanks for that. Try and squeeze a few more in. Now, when we were talking paddle yesterday and the merits of the footballers like Cristiano Ronaldo and David Beckham and our own Darren Bent and how good they were one of Britain's top paddle players, we did mention that we'd seen this story of farmers turning some of their buildings into paddle courts. And we said we'd try and track somebody down who could tell us more. And we have. A farmer in North Yorkshire, Callum Stark, has done just that recently. And it sounds like it was the best thing he ever did. Hello, Callum.
I'm Paul. Now, Andy. How are we doing?
Yeah, we're good. Now, we were talking yesterday about the growth of paddle and the fact it's kind of difficult to get a court. But you've sorted things out for people in your part of the world. An old a potato building that you had there, the sort of storage building, you've turned into paddle courts, and it's worked out well.
Yeah, it's not too bad, to be fair. I mean, the sort of state that farming's in at the moment makes farming a bit laughable at the moment, to be fair, lads. So, yeah, it's doing all right.
So these buildings that were there, you were losing money on them, weren't you? They weren't really doing anything for you.
It's risk rewarding farming. Like it was, after all the storage costs, electricity costs, the cost of producing them in the land and the ground. All in, all out, the first store I converted, I lost 12 grand in it, and it was basically I went in to convert them into from potato stores to paddle because it was a bit like a 2 fingers up to the people I supply, basically, and it's gone pretty well, really.
And you got your investment. It was a £90,000 investment, and you got that back within 6 months.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Don't tell everyone though, lads.
Well, I mean, when you're putting these courts together, is it like a sort of company comes in, they're sort of in kit form? Is it a pretty straightforward business?
Yeah, so you have to speak a bit of broken Spanish to the lads because the first 2 courts came over there from Spain, and all I could really say to them was "un cerveza, por favor." So it was a bit of interesting sort of collab with them. But no, it was pretty straightforward. I sort of came up with the idea in November, and then the courts were in sort of like end of February, and then we opened on the 8th of March, and there's just been quite a big learning curve all the way through, really. It's it caused me a bit of stress, to be fair, lads.
How are the bookings? Are they good?
I'm running at about 85% capacity at the moment.
That's good.
Opening at 6 o'clock in the morning to 11 o'clock at night.
Wow. Does that mean it's a very different world you've moved into? You're kind of in the leisure business now, where you're in sort of the sharp end of... I mean, other aspects of the farm, they're still doing okay for you?
I mean, it's tricky, lads. The reason I went into it was because this inheritance tax is coming, and the size of farm we're still going to get hit by it by quite a considerable amount. My grand's 93 and she owns quite a proportion of the farm.
Right.
So looking at it, even with the 2.5 million inheritance, we own about £3 million in potato equipment and stores alone. So even before you're looking at the land we own, that puts us over the threshold.
Wow.
We were looking down the barrel of about I don't mind to say, about £6 million inheritance tax bill.
Wow, way.
Yeah. And it would wipe us out. We're running at about 0.6% return on asset at the moment.
This is right across the board. I mean, I'm an Archers fan, but they talk about this a lot. No, seriously, but they talk about this a lot in the programme, and it is a serious problem. And, we need to look after our farmers. I don't really understand the government with this one. I'm not being political or anything, but it does seem very odd.
We've got Clarkson's Farm returning. Look, that is a TV programme, and you're at the sharp end of this, Callum, but... has it kind of shone a light, you think? Has it made people realise what farming is like in this country at the moment?
Yeah, massively, lads. It's he's shown a very, no matter what people think about Clarkson, he's shown a realistic light on how hard it is on farming. And they're going. I understand what the government's trying to do. They're trying to go after people who have trying to dodge tax. But the problem is with that, they are actually curbing us lads to produce food. So, I mean, the reason why I did it was basically the whole reason I started to do it was because of the inheritance tax. But thank God people are very supportive in this area, as we're a rural area, very supportive of farming, and I can't thank them enough for actually coming down to use our courts. So, but it's a nightmare out there, boys. And with the straight to Hornmus job as well, it's completely crippling us.
Yeah,
and with the fertilizer tax coming in 20%, there's no point actually growing your cereals next year because it'll kill us. It'll absolutely wipe them out.
Well, thank goodness for paddle by the sound of it.
Yeah.
If people want to book your courts, what do they need to do? If you're online,
you want to go and play Tomic, lads. So it's an app that everyone uses.
Yeah.
And I hear as well that there's a fair few of you lads love playing a bit of paddle. So if you want to come down and try it out on the paddle farm, please do.
We'll get Benty up there. He's a good player. Add a bit of stardust to it, Darren.
I've got the defibrillator out as well for you two.
Thanks. Well, look, well done, Callum. It's a good story. I'm sure other people will be looking to do it, but hopefully not right on top of where you are. But good to talk to you. Thanks very much.
Yeah, no, lads. Cheers.
Callum Stark there, the farmer who's turned his potato store into paddle courts, and I'm sure all the players will know Playtomic. That's where you book your courts. And go and check it out if you'd like to look at his facilities. Anyway, football tonight on talkSPORT. Brighton Chelsea on talkSPORT. Leicester Hull. Huge game for Leicester tonight. Mark Albrighton was one of the boys of 2016. And we're going to be chatting to him very shortly on what could be their final night. Well, I mean, effectively as a championship club, because it will be confirmed relegation to League One should they lose this evening. We're here with a good friend.
I might watch that one so I know what it'll be like next year.
Yeah, that's right. Maybe I should keep an eye on that. Get your toolbox essentials this spring with big savings on screws and fixings. Next stop, Tool Station.
Are you nervous as a player when you're 2-0 up against Wolves? Are you nervous in that game? Are you nervous when you're playing against Brentford and you're playing against Forest?
Perhaps
are you nervous in
perhaps
those games?
Arsenal bit off more than they can chew, Simon. They were really big in 4 competitions. Is the workload played a part?
Well, they fixed that.
Maybe that game came just at the wrong time from an Arsenal.
But they fixed that, haven't they?
That game now.
Here's the fact: they've been in this situation twice before, and they've cracked, and it looks like they're cracking again. Why are they cracking again?
Let's discuss that at the end of the season.
Never mind City. Why are they cracking again?
Because, look, the squad players that come in, Arsenal played with 4 central defenders yesterday. No Calafiori to develop the play in midfield that they normally have. No Timber that tenacity that it has to help when Haaland's doing his stuff. Yeah,
but you've got to find a way, haven't you?
Yeah, but
the squad should be strong
people
enough
come in to replace
cope with that,
don't they? We're on our third right back yesterday.
But that's not the point, is it?
No, it
You
is the point.
You keep ignoring the point.
It's not your point.
You can elevate your voice if you want to because you don't like the conversation. No one would look at Arsenal winning, losing away to Man City as a bad result. It's the other results.
There's always a first choice player, isn't there? So when a second choice player
when you're playing against the bottom sides in the division and you're
yes, that's a different discussion. But we're talking about yesterday.
That's why they've lost.
I'm talking about
that's a big part.
That's why they've lost their position.
Simon's point's relevant.
That's why they've lost their position.
That's why they've lost the position they were in.
Don't you think the workload though has affected the Arsenal players with the injuries and fatigue? No. You know, talk of players.
Well, you know more
talk of players playing.
Man City. Man City are in all the competitions. They're in the League Cup. They're in the FA.
We end today looking ahead to our live commentary on talkSPORT to Leicester City versus Hull City, a game in which anything but a win for Leicester will see them relegated to League One. It's hard to believe 10 years ago.
I know.
Celebrating winning the Premier League title. Joining us now.
5 years ago, winning the Cup.
Yeah, indeed. One of the boys of that era. And joining us now, Mark Albrighton. Good afternoon, Mark.
Good afternoon, guys.
It's almost unbelievable, really, that it has come to this, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And it's just sad to see. I think more than anything, obviously the whole world was with Leicester City 10 years ago, wishing that they got it over the line and won the league, and now obviously the situation that they're in, it's unthinkable to see how far they've dropped.
Yeah, I mean, this fallout with the ownership, there was this complete love affair. We know the tragic circumstances in which the overall owner of the club was lost, of course. But with the family, the breakdown in that relationship has been sad to see as well, because it was such a close bond.
Yeah, I think if you told me 5, 6 years ago, maybe even less, that there'd be sort of protests and such anger pointed towards the hierarchy, I wouldn't have believed you. I think for what they've done for the club and the success that they've brought to the club since they've took it over has been second to none. And not even just that, just the stuff that they've done off the field for the fans and everybody surrounded by the club. The city of Leicester has been incredible. So to now see the anger pointed towards that family is hard to see.
The only thing you'd say, and I feel like this sometimes about Chelsea, nothing can take that away. Nothing can take the Champions League win in Munich away from here. Nothing can take this away from Leicester fans. So however bad it gets, you always did have that.
I think looking back and people's comments, like I think Gary Lineker mentioned something about if you had told him sort of 10, 12 years ago that your club would win the league, win the FA Cup, go on this journey and then be relegated to League One, that it'd snap your hand off. And I think there's a few fans of that opinion, but then when you're actually involved in it and you're seeing it unfold, it's hard to see it that way. And like you say, nothing will ever take it away. I think there's talk of sort of a bit of an anniversary game that we're gonna be organising towards the end of the season, and it's not going to be the celebration that it could have been, but it's I think you've still got to celebrate these milestones.
The club have been attacked for that a little bit. They've announced it today, and quite a lot of Leicester fans are seeing it as tone deaf.
Timing wasn't great, was it?
It is all for charity, and it will raise lots of money for charity, and I'm sure that's at the heart of what the club have said. But to put out those posters for that 5,000 to 1 game today of all days does feel a bit odd.
Yeah, I feel the whole organisation of it it's been difficult. I think with what's gone on off the field, I don't think you can look at any point in the last maybe 2 or 3 months, maybe even further, that there's been a day where it's been a good time to release it. At some point, you have to get it out there if that's what you're going with and that's what you're going to be doing. You have to get it out there. Don't get me wrong. Yeah, the game tonight again takes the gloss off it. Timing could be better, but like we say, we've got to try and separate. In terms of that, we've got to try and separate the two issues: the 10-year anniversary and what's going on the field now. Because in actual fact, if the club don't do anything for the anniversary and to celebrate it, I think there's backlash there as well. So I think because of the situation, they're in a bit of a no-win situation.
I was going to say, by coincidence, 10 years back, Villa were relegated. And it shows you what can happen to a football club. They can go down, but they can come back. And Villa have done really well, haven't they?
I mean, this is the thing, the helplessness. You kind of, we've got Leicester fans here. I'm Jeff Peters, who's going to be part of it tonight. You know, you speak to him. I mean, do you feel confident they can bounce back?
Confidence in Leicester at the minute is a slim thing. Do you know? I think with Leicester, I think they seem. I can only talk about my time, but even before that, they've obviously been in League One before and bounced back up over time, gone and won the Premier League, gone and won the FA Cup. So if anybody should have faith, it should be Leicester fans that can happen. I think Leicester seem to do things in extremes by the looks of this, and it's this is obviously one of the darkest days in the club's history, and it's going to be sad when it actually happens, but. I think if you're going to hold on to anything positive, and if you are looking for them small wins, then you've obviously got to look at when they came up before and the journey that they've been on since then.
Good stuff. Well, thanks for joining us, Mark. All the best. Thank you.
Lovely. Thank you very much. Mark
Albrighton there, one of the boys of 2016, former Leicester winger. Our thanks to him. And that game is live on talkSPORT 2. Jeff Peters will be part of the team there, Philbert the Fox, the, of course, official scorer of the birthday.
I think it's going to be all Brighton tonight as well.
I think it's going to be all Brighton tonight, yeah. Well, we'll find out because that's live on talkSPORT. Brighton Hove Albion versus Chelsea is our commentary game. And you can get your calls into Jamie O'Hara and Jason Cundy. Jason's going to be on with Jamie. Is anyone? He's going to get the anyone seat.
I think he will be, yeah.
Yes, has he got a Racine mask yet, Jamie?
I'm sure it's only one manufactured as we
think
speak.
It probably is. Yeah, we'll see. So that one's live for you this evening on talkSPORT and talkSPORT 2. You'll be kept in touch with all the other goals. The big night in the EFL beyond the Championship as well. So Adrian Clark and Ian Dant will be keeping an eye on that as well as Adrian, I'm sure. So that is us. Max and Charlie with you tomorrow. We'll be back on Thursday. We'll have a birthday spread, and we'll be maybe commiserating, I guess, with Jeff then. Thanks for your company this afternoon. Coming up next to build up a big night of football and look at all the big stories of the day. It's Drive with Andy Goldstein and Darren Bent.